for the Retro High School Football Game of the Week on Bright House Sports Network.
Hello and welcome to the Bright House Sports Network Retro Game of the Week. I'm Drew Felios. Today we flash back to December 1st, 2006. The Class 5A semifinals. The Lakeland Dreadnaughts hosted the Buccaneers from Mainland. Both teams came into this matchup with perfect 13-0 records. For the Dreadnaughts, they were playing for their third state championship in a row. Want you to keep an eye on future University of Florida stars Ahmad Black, Mike and Marquise Pouncey, and Chris Rainey. The Mainland Buccaneers were led by head coach John Moranto. They'd been to the playoffs every year since 1996, led by quarterback Derek Taylor, running backs Dwan King and Kenny Wilson, and wide receiver Antonio Bell. Jeff Carlson and I had the call that night and still remember that game as the best display of high school talent on one field that we've ever covered. So sit back and enjoy the 2006 Class 5A semifinals, the Mainland Buccaneers and Lakeland Dreadnaughts on the Retro Game of the Week. The heart of Florida, Polk County, Bryant Stadium in Lakeland, where the undefeated Lakeland Dreadnaughts host the Mainland Buccaneers in a 5A state semifinal playoff game. Good evening, everyone. Thrilled to have you with us tonight on the Catch 47 Game of the Week. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneer Jeff Carlson joins me as usual for a game that should be one for the ages tonight. It's been another stellar season for these Lakeland Dreadnaughts, but to get to the state championship game in Miami, they've got to get through maybe the toughest team they've faced all season. Jeff, these Mainland Buccaneers, it all starts with their quarterback, Derek Taylor.
Absolutely. Derek Taylor is what you expect from your quarterback. All the guys on the team look up to him. He is a vocal leader. He's a leader on the field. He makes plays, and he's a good athlete. That's all you can ask from him.
On defense, they got a lot of guys also that go both ways. Robert Slater is a guy that's going to be all over the field tonight with the task to shut down a very high-powered Lakeland offense.
Well, it's going to be tough, but this guy's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He can run sideline to sideline. He's led the team in tackles for 2 straight years. He will be making lots of plays tonight.
Before the season even started, we knew Chris Rainey was good, but this season he has showed fans in Polk County a running back unlike this area has ever seen. Rainey is having just an unbelievable season.
Well, he's just an amazing athlete from start to finish. He's close to going for 2,000 yards on the ground, and you know, in a 13-game season so far, if he has a great game tonight, he'll be at 2,014 games. That's amazing.
On defense, this Lakeland group has just been outstanding as well. Up front, John Brown, the number 3 rated defensive tackle in the country. How good is this kid?
I have not seen him play in person, but just watching him run around without even his shoulder pads on, I'm already scared. So I think Derek Taylor and the rest, you got to be ready for that.
Buckle up. It should be a heck of a contest. High school football simply does not get any better than this. The Lakeland Dreadnaughts, the Mainland Buccaneers, coming up next, live on the Catch 47 Game of the Week. The Game of the Week is brought to you by GMC. GMC, we build all of our cars and trucks professional grade. The proud sponsor of the Game of the Week, GMC. Set for kickoff here at Bryant Stadium. The dynamic duo for the Lakeland Dreadnaughts back to receive. Chris Rainey and Ahmad Black. The kickoff oncoming. It'll be taken short at the 20-yard line. And a nice return for the Dreadnaughts as Paul Wilson gets it up near the 35-yard line. Lakeland led by quarterback Blair Castle. He is the coach's son, but he doesn't play like your typical coach's son. Blair Castle stepped in when there were a lot of questions about this Lakeland offense and who would lead them at quarterback going into the season. Blair Castle has silenced all the critics. And again, Lakeland 13-0, partly because of his play. Dreadnaughts will begin in the I formation from the 33 with Chris Rainey, the running back, and Paul Wilson in motion. And the first carry of the game is to Rainey. And Rainey off to the races. First play, a huge run for Chris Rainey. And a pickup of 29 yards on the first play of the game. for Chris Rainey.
Mainland trying to keep their defensive secondary in man-to-man coverage as they run across with the motion, trying to keep 9 guys in front of Chris Rainey. Tough to do. You can see why so many teams have struggled to stop Chris Rainey all season long.
Officially a gain of 25, and Rainey has just been sensational all season long. We knew he was fast before, but the type of back and the clutch runs that he has made throughout the year, he has taken it to a new level. Second carry of the game, up the gut to Jamar Taylor. And he is stopped shy of the 40. This Lakeland offense will go with Taylor and Rainey, 2 outstanding running backs. The wideouts, Wilson and Chris Rich. James Campbell is your tight end. Up front, the Pouncey twins, James and LaShawn, lead the way with Chris Kenny at center, John Hardy and Jacob Barrett at right tackle. So after a short pickup on first down, it's about 2nd and 9 for the Dreadnaughts. 3 wide receivers on the field. And they'll pitch it to Rainey, and Rainey's got more room. Chris Rainey inside the 30, out of bounds at the 27-yard line. This Mainland defense, the best Lakeland has faced all season long. Up front, they'll go with Philip Bailey, Jonathan Wheeler, Chauncey Gordon, and Dijon Knight. The linebackers, watch Emmanuel Ware and Robert Slater. They are quite a tandem with Terrence Wiley. In the secondary, Ortiz Oreen is the top player there. John Theodore, Bruno Foster, and Kenny Wilson also will try and read the eyes tonight of Blair Castle. Mainland knows they've got to get some turnovers here and get off to a fast start. So far, it's been Lakeland running the ball and Rainey slashing. This time, he gets it to the 24-yard line.
Drew, we know that Chris Rainey is the best athlete in black tonight. On the opposite side, they counter with Kenny Wilson as their best athlete. He's their running back, and he came up and had to make the stop there for a short gain.
Chris Rainey, one of 6. The Lakeland Dreadnaughts headed to the University of Florida. We'll be talking a lot more about them as the night goes along. This Lakeland team full of superstars and college prospects. They have coaches at the next level just drooling. But tonight it's all about the team and getting to another state championship game. Movement along the front. Jeff, we've seen a lot of pregame so far in this playoffs. As Lakeland will take it back 5 yards. The pre-games teams have been pumped up. Last week at Armwood, you said they exhausted a lot of their energy. This warm-up period, though, was very serene for both teams.
Yeah, Mainland got here really early. They were on the field at least 30 minutes before Lakeland ever made it. What I liked about Lakeland warming up was they never even put their shoulder pads on while they were on the field. It was very casual. They've been here before. Both these teams are used to these state semifinals, so I don't think they lost it in the pregame.
It's all business for these guys. Jamar Taylor pounds his way to the 20-yard line. He's close to a Lakeland first down. That'll bring up a 3rd down and a very short 1 yard for Jamar Taylor. So you see how Chris Rainey's effective on the outside. Taylor, the guy who can go right up the middle.
Yeah, you know, we talk about what Reggie Bush has brought to the New Orleans Saints. He hasn't had that big of a year, but it's kind of like this. Chris Rainey is so great when he gets the ball, but he can be such a great decoy to let other guys get their carries and their touches as well.
So a short yardage situation now for the Dreadnaughts. On 3rd down, they'll give to Taylor, and Taylor has a first down. He gets to the 15-yard line. Jamar Taylor, this guy committed to Alabama over the summer, and curious to know his intentions now with Mike Shula.
When they're in their Rhino backfield, John Brown, who's made such a name for himself being a best defensive tackle in the nation or close to it, he came in on that 3rd and short as that Rhino backfield up front blocker, and you can see why they easily pick up the first down.
So Lakeland moving it on this first drive. They've got it 1st and 10 from the 16. Up the middle again, and Mainland says they've got it. And it appears they do. So Lakeland turns it over, and the Buccaneers will recover it. Coming up with it Chauncey Gordon, the big defensive tackle. And I believe it was a fumble on the exchange.
Just a straight dive up the middle. Should have been just a routine walk in the park type of a handoff, but it gets turned over. And if you remember, Drew, when we talk about the misdirection type plays, that's a lot of ball handling that goes into it. That should have been routine. Turns out they put the ball on the ground, gives Mainland the first chance on offense.
So here is Derek Taylor with his first drive of the game. The senior quarterback pitches it to Kenny Wilson, and Wilson will throw it on first down. But did they come up with it? It appears the ball hit the ground, and that will be the call intended for Antonio Bell. And he could not scoop it up off the turf.
Well, we're way up in the press box, and from this distance, I would have given him the catch. I'd like to see that on replay as it comes in. Referee's a lot closer to it than we are. And you know what? I would love to give that kid a catch for that play. Kenny Wilson just short on the play. It was a great first play come out. You want to be conservative, so pitch it out. Let your running back do his thing. Throw it over the top. Could have had a touchdown on that play if it was out there far enough.
A good idea. They've got this Lakeland defense at least thinking right out of the gates. A big run, and loose for the Buccaneers is King. Juwan King. Nobody even close. Will score a Mainland touchdown. 83 yards. And the Lakeland side is shocked as Mainland on the scoreboard first to take a 6-0 lead.
Well, the thing here, Drew, is they didn't get it on a trick play. They ran right up the middle and outran. You see, creating more distance as the further he went. He was going to make the touchdown no matter who was on the field on this particular play. Great job by Mainland to get their confidence boosted up by just running it straight up the middle, right at the heart of the defense.
So in 2 plays, Mainland goes 83 yards. The extra point is good. Kick through by Kevin Holland, the star kicker for these Buccaneers. And Lakeland, they know tonight they are in a dogfight. Down 7-0 opening quarter in the state semifinals.
And it is up to the coach Moranto and the rest of the coaching staff on the Mainland sideline to not get too high on themselves and to get too feeling too good about themselves. They got to keep their composure here. You see, that just good job up front. Now remember, Lakeland is not that big up front outside of John Brown. They're not that big, so we'll see if that's where Mainland mainly tries to attack, is through the middle. They do it here. Good cutout, kick out blocks inside, and he is untouched to the end zone. But the speed inside by King was surprising as well. Good job with that. But they got to keep themselves under control and then keep this game, because this is, remember, 48 long minutes. Lakeland's been here before. They know how to overcome adversity and that kind of stuff, and they have their special players too. They put the ball on the ground. They didn't stop them. They stopped themselves. Mainland did not stop Lakeland on that first drive.
Bill Castle, maybe a bit concerned. Juwan King, the running back on that play. Not even the top running back on this Mainland squad. Kenny Wilson is the guy who does most of the work. He's number 5. Juwan King, really the second stringer, but he looked like a star on that play, slicing right through the Lakeland defense. Coach Castle, no stranger to any situation. 31 seasons as head coach here. Look at the record in the playoffs, and 5 state championships to go with that. He is a legend in Lakeland.
Lakeland on offense has decided that they're going to give the ball to Chris Rainey as many times as they can. But on the kickoffs, Mainland's decided that Chris Rainey will not return kicks. That ball was pooched up in the air for those fair catches. They're going to do that all night.
And they give to Rainey. Chris Rainey trying to respond, and he's in the clear. Touchdown, Lakeland. 73 yards. Chris Rainey fires right back to the Dreadnaughts.
And Bruno Foster was right behind him, almost caught up with him. Basically, they run the exact same 40-yard speed, and Chris Rainey was able to outlast him to the end zone. But did you see the tackle that Chris Rainey ran out of to get going again? That's where the amazingness of him. And we talked about him hitting over 2,000 yards on the year. With a run like that, a few more of those, and not even a few more of those, just a regular night for the rest, he'll go over 2,000 yards tonight.
Chris Rainey says, you can do that. Well, I can do that too. 73 yards to respond, and Lakeland within a point of tying this game up. Extra point is up, and it is good. Matt Roddenberry boots it through, and Lakeland responds right back with one play, and Chris Rainey has been in this situation before, and you can see why he is such a clutch player.
Just off tackle, he bounces it out on his own. Kenny Wilson misses the first one,
wow,
and he runs out of that arm tackle. Thought he got a better shot, Uring got a better shot at it if he did, but you see him, Foster chasing, and not very many people are gonna catch him. But see that outside cut on the right foot? We've talked about that all year. The better running backs that we've seen make that outside cut, and he's up the field, and all of a sudden running through tackles as he does on a regular basis.
The guy chasing him that time, Brunei Foster. He had a step on Rainey, had a shot at him, but Chris Rainey able to separate, and it's very tough to run that guy down once he gets into the clear. Maybe the toughest guy in our viewing area.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody's, well, very rarely is he going to get caught from behind, and it's only because he's slowed down earlier where you get that shot at him.
Chris Rainey has had some great moments on the Catch 47 Game of the Week dating back to his sophomore year. That was just another one. Mainland will try to respond, and it's fumbled. Ahmad Black picks it up for the Dreadnaughts, and he's got Green ahead. Black, touchdown. They don't just do it on offense, they do it on special teams. Lakeland fires back with Ahmad Black. And the Dreadnaughts now lead by 6. Up and down, furious action in this first quarter.
And you quickly, the questions quickly go away about why the billboard says national champions 2005. They haven't lost since then. And man, talk about athletes all over the field. That's what Coach Moranto was talking about. They have so many good athletes out there. We're a team. We're going to try to win as a team. But man, you're going up against the Lakeland Dreadnaughts. It's a tough call. We got a long way to go, though.
An unsportsmanlike conduct called on that last play, so that'll march it back 15 yards, and Matt Roddenberry is going to have a long kick for this extra point. He's going to really have to earn this one. It'll be about a 36-yard extra point attempt as you get a look at Ahmad Black, another Florida Gator to be. As Roddenberry will tee it up for a long extra point. The kick is up, and it is no good. So Lakeland will have to settle for a 6-point lead. The unsportsmanlike coming immediately after that touchdown by Ahmad Black.
Just the celebration of everybody jumping on top and having a good time. But man, looked like it was a big play for Mainland coming through, and all of a sudden you turn it around, and that's what I'm talking about, keeping your heads about you when you get that quick, easy touchdown, keeping your heads, and now you got to protect the football. It's really, he wasn't carrying it outside, just got a good defensive play to get the hand in there and knock it away.
Ahmad Black. When Ahmad Black made a visit, Jeff, to our Catch 47 studio over the summer, we were so impressed on how intelligent he actually is, and his football smarts, and what a great kid he is as well. Ahmad Black, everybody in Gainesville is going to love him once he gets there.
Well, it was a great job of scooping up a moving football. A lot of times, you know, coaches will teach, hey, just get on top of the football, secure it, but it came right up to him, and he makes the big play, breaks the tackle, and goes all the way for 6.
Kenny Wilson back to receive for this Mainland team. And it will be Wilson near his own end zone. A nice play on the tackle. Quentin Campbell wrestles him down near the 30-yard line. And Campbell was the guy actually on that play who caused the fumble. Got to give him his props. The junior, 5'10", 196. A special team specialist. Well, for these Dreadnaughts.
He closed down that hole that would look like there was going to be a space for Wilson to run through, but he closed that down, so he's got a couple of great plays on his resume so far in this early part of the first quarter.
So Derek Taylor will try and respond. His team trailing by 6, and now the Lakeland defense will start to tee off. Initial play made by Steve Wilkes. He was the guy who first tripped him up. This Mainland offense, very productive all season long. Kenny Wilson and Dewan King, outstanding running backs. King already has the touchdown. Antonio Bell and Daniel McFadden, the wideouts, with Eric Juntonen, your tight end. Up front, Kendrick Wheeler. Michael Kilgore's a guard with Victor Campbell, and Mike Rosenweek will line up at center. In motion, Dewan King. And Taylor back to throws, got a man. 35-yard line, pass is complete. Eric Juntonen, his first catch of the game, as Wilkes was there again to make the stop. On defense, this Lakeland team has been fabulous all season long. Stingy when they've had to be with Stannis, Brown, Pat Turner, and Calvin Shaw. The linebackers have had to regroup, but they definitely have. Klein, Golden, and Nick Moody replaced that talented bunch from last year. The secondary with Valdez, Ahmad Black, 24, and Steve Wilkes both headed to Florida. Devon Terry, the other cornerback. And we've got movement up front.
We have false start on the offense, still third down.
I asked Coach Moranto, is this a game where you got two great football teams and the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win? And that's when he started talking about being a team and how great Lakeland is, how many great, I mean, it's really just a factory for the University of Florida, at least this year. And but he also talked about a lot of players that they have in college right now, but that they are a team and they have to win as a team because they don't quite match up with the same talent as Lakeland.
John Moranto, tutored by Bill Walsh and Don Coryell. He is a student of the West Coast offense. You're seeing it tonight on the high school level. Big run. It's Andre Williams. And Williams up to the 48-yard line. He's got a Mainland first down and a huge pickup of 18 yards by this Buccaneer offense.
And a nice little play call. You got 3rd and long, and instead of taking a risk against the Lakeland secondary, you just come up with a nice play up the middle. Again, so far Mainland has showed that they can make some holes and create some space inside of that Lakeland defensive line, and they do a nice job picking up about 15, 18 yards on that.
We have seen speed tonight. That was Andre Williams. Kenny Wilson's a great player. Dewan King's got a touchdown already. So these Buccaneers can run. Taylor throws incomplete near the 50-yard line. Looking for Daniel McFadden. But the ball that time too low, and that'll bring up a 2nd down.
Well, I think the risk versus reward on this type of play might be a little too much for Mainland, because you see Wilkes coming in there, and unless that ball gets there quicker, you're only going to pick up 2 yards, but you have a chance of giving up 6 if the ball's slightly late. So I would say they're going to have to revamp that play style right there.
Score update tonight so far. The Plant Panthers 7, Booker T. Washington 6. We'll be keeping an eye on that game throughout the night. As Dewan King has 9 yards, another good pickup for this Mainland team. You can tell the game plan right from the start, run the football right at this Lakeland Dreadnaught defense.
Well, and King deserved another shot at touching the ball after his first run. Give him another shot, and he does a great job getting into a 3rd and short situation. This is really where Mainland has to make their bread and butter, is the 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, and sustain their drives from here.
Big play for the Bucks, 3rd and 2. They go straight ahead, but right there to clog it up. Dewan King does not get a first down. There to make the stop for Lakeland was Nick Moody, the senior linebacker.
Asked Coach Moranto if he was going to have to take chances. He said, if we have to. Now this, I don't think that this really is what you would call taking a chance or taking a risk. You're on the plus side of the 50. You can punt the ball away. You do it all day in games, but in a championship game like this, or a state, semifinals, you're going to have to make these kinds of conversions to be successful against a team like Lakeland.
And Mainland wants to talk this over. Coach Moranto calls a timeout. When we come back, 4th and 1 for Mainland. Drew Felios, Jeff Carlson here on the Cats 47 Game of the Week. We got a barn burner, so stay with us. Lakeland leads Mainland 13-7, a 4th and 1 for the Buccaneers, and it appears they have decided to punt.
4th down and inches.
And it was less than a yard, but Kevin Holland is on to kick it away. Let's see if he does indeed kick it. You never know, but this time he does indeed kick it away, and it's a high kick that hits a Lakeland player. And Mainland recovers at the 24-yard line. Unbelievable, as Terrence McCray is there to pick it up.
And I'll tell you what, this is luck for Mainland, and I don't think that this was a mistake by the Lakeland player. I didn't see who it was. We'll catch that in a minute. But the ball was so far off to the side, near the sideline, that player shouldn't expect it. And really the return man, it's his job to get up to where that football is. See how far off to the outside of the numbers he gets hit with the ball. The return guy needs to run up there and tell him to get away from the football, and so that doesn't happen.
So a 1st and 10 for Mainland. They got great field position. Taylor showing the athleticism, getting out of trouble. And he's finally wrestled down at the 20-yard line. Pat Turner finally ran him down. Taylor gonna have a long night if he makes his living doing that.
There's a lot of speed, and when you bring speed from the defense, and when you finally do collide, it hurts a lot. And Derek Taylor, he's going to be trying to look around and survive tonight against these guys, because they do come from so many different positions. But it was a good play call. There was nothing to throw to. Even when he did scramble, nobody came open, so he did a good job picking up some yardage.
Taylor will hand it off. And nicely played by the Lakeland defense. It was Calvin Shaw making the stop. As DeJuan King, his 3rd carry of the night, he busted a big one on the 1st series of the game, just the 2nd play of the game for Mainland. Went 83 yards, that's how this game started. But Lakeland responded with Chris Rainey, and then a return on the fumble off special teams by Ahmad Black. This Lakeland defense now really clogging the holes. Calvin Shaw there to meet Andre Williams, and it's going to bring up another Mainland 4th down.
Well, we'll see how much confidence they have in Kevin Holland. It looks like they're sending on the field goal kicker. But, you know, go back. This is the 3rd down call, and they did well on 3rd and 12 in a similar type run play. Don't pick it up here. But when we go back to what happened on that punt, Drew, they looked like they were going to go for it 4th and 1 at the 41, and they called timeout, and they decide, you know what, we are not as confident as we thought by picking up 1 yard against the Dreadnaught defense.
Kevin Holland will try a field goal, and the senior is short. It is no good. The lefty kicker could not squeeze it through, and Lakeland dodges a bullet because it was off the punt, where Lakeland had to give up possession after the ball hits one of their own guys. Ball goes back to Mainland, but the Lakeland defense, as they have all season long, they come up big.
Yeah, and here, Holland in the pregame was not striking the ball very consistently. He has plenty of leg to kick the ball from there, so he normally makes those, but he just wasn't striking it very consistently. He hits it a little too low. You see how much the ball was spinning end over end.
Look at the playoff history for Lakeland. 7th trip to the state semifinals, 5 state titles. They have been every year under Coach Bill Castle since 1993. Simply amazing. Chris Rainey. Can he get outside? He is running loose all night long. Right now that play is there for Lakeland. Another 1st down for the Dreadnaughts. Rainey is up to the 49-yard line.
Well, so far running off to the left side in front of those Pouncey brothers. Everything has been wide open, and Orion does, no, it's not Orion, it's Turner, excuse me. It's Foster again, actually saving a touchdown just by staying in front to allow the pursuit to come up to him.
Chris Rainey already 140 yards rushing. Mainland has got to find some way to just contain this kid. Jamar Taylor stacked up again. They've had the answer for that play thus far. Emmanuel Ware that time to make the stop. And that was the same play where Lakeland had a fumble earlier tonight. Coach Castle and son Blair does not talk very much about his son, like a lot of dads just kind of light up and gleam and go on and on about their kids. Coach Castle very mum about his son Blair.
It's a tough position to be the head coach of the #1 team around, and then your kid is the quarterback. So I think that's the way to be. Obviously, he's proven himself as a coach that he's going to put the best players on the field and put a great product on the field. But Blair has been able to lead this team. Hasn't had a lot put on his shoulders because they are so powerful with Chris Rainey.
Rainey near the 50-yard line on the little end around, and there's a flag on the play.
Illegal hands in the back on the offense.
I believe that time they're going to get Paul Wilson, the wide receiver, who was trying to kind of seal the edge for Chris Rainey that time.
Yeah, usually, that's a play you don't usually get on running plays, but like you say, when it's a receiver coming in trying to seal something, that's when you're going to get a guy turning in the back.
We're at the end of one quarter. 13-7, Dreadnaughts lead. We are just getting going. Back right after this on the Catch 47 Game of the Week. Drew Felios, Jeff Carlson back here before the start of the second quarter. Both of these defenses tonight, probably the two best in the state in any classification, as Mainland only allows 78 points a game. Lakeland 106 points on the entire season, rather. Mainland 78, Lakeland 106. Look, can you imagine an entire season, 13 games, only allowing 78 points? That is amazing.
I've never been around anything even close to that, and it takes a lot of pressure off the offense. You know, they don't have to perform. I mean, Lakeland has only played one really actually close game all season long. You can see how many touchdowns they get on special teams and defense right there. 11 touchdowns by Lakeland. And they've already got one tonight.
Most points this Mainland team has given up in an entire season. Another key stat on that graphic, 19. Right now, Lakeland already at 13. And we are ready to go. A third down and 20 yards for Blair Castle. He'll sling it out, and it's Rich, Chris Rich. No room to work with, a host of white shirts there to meet him. And that'll bring up the first punting situation for Lakeland tonight.
They put Chris Rainey out in the slot to try to get the defense to the wide side to slide out there and try to slip one back to the weak side, and Mainland was right there ready to take care of that.
Back to kick it away for the Dreadnaughts is Matt Roddenberry. Kind of hesitates, but gets it away. Orkees Oreen will let it bounce, then pick it up. And he is pushed out of bounds by Ahmad Black at the 19-yard line. Playoff history for Mainland. Very storied, 13 straight seasons in the postseason, 14 overall appearances. Fifth trip here to the semifinals and a state title in 2003. They beat Naples that year. So Lakeland, the past two state championships. And the only team aside from Lakeland the past few years to win one is the team they're playing tonight, Mainland. So fittingly, I think this is a semifinal, Jeff, where we know we have got the two best teams matching up against one another.
Absolutely. They might as well not play a game next week, even if they win. We'll just call it the state championship right now.
Well, we saw that score. Manatee, the other team in our viewing area that is playing tonight against St. Thomas Aquinas, they lead 8-0. So we will continue to keep an eye on that game as Manatee's dream season continues. That time, Andre Williams.
And they've had their space. Mainland has had their space outside to be able to pick it up. Williams has picked up a couple of long runs. This one goes for 9. So they've had their space, and they also broke that one up the middle with King. So they're having a good offensive night. Terry Anthony is a former teammate of mine, wide receiver out of Florida State. He is the guy calling the plays for Mainland.
Andre Williams, the player who just carried that, started most of the year, and here he is again. You can tell this kid has had very good game experience. He comes in off the bench, kind of like a 6-man in basketball. and gives this Mainland team a very good spark off the bench.
Built low to the ground, makes good cuts, good speed. He's got real good balance as well. So you see that 5-yard average, 10 touchdowns on the year.
Leads the team in touchdowns as well. Andre Williams, part of a talented backfield for this Mainland football team. Weber Stanis digging in, looking to make something happen here for this Lakeland D. Taylor back to pass. Nobody's open, under pressure, and just has to throw it away. Pressure applied by Calvin Shaw, and luckily a grounding was not called on that pass.
Yeah, the coaches were working the side judge over there for a call, and he's like, no, there's somebody over there, and this really should not be grounding. Yes, he was trying to get rid of the ball to not get sacked, but he was definitely within his rights to throw it where he did. So that was a good play by Taylor to get rid of it.
Big numbers for Calvin Shaw. Very good Lakeland defense that went on to the next level last year. When you talk about some of those linebackers that played well on that team that won a state title last season. Troy Johnson went to Iowa. Scott Bryant went to Florida International. They had to replace a lot of speed. But you know how it is at Lakeland. They don't rebuild, they reload. Flags on the play.
Second down.
That'll push Mainland back 5 more yards.
You know, it's hard, Drew. You got other high schools, and people want to be part of a winner. You can watch it at the pro level where the fans come when the teams win. When they don't win, they don't come. Same thing for the players themselves. The kids that are walking around school that might be great athletes, if the program isn't already good, they might not ever step foot on the football field. But when you've got a team that has tradition and you want to be part of that for the whole experience, all of a sudden you got even more kids coming out. So you know, success breeds success.
You're absolutely right. Taylor hands it off, and it's another big run for number 12. Dwan King is tackled about 5 yards shy of a first down.
Glad to see him pop right back up. He's getting his nice yards per carry as he gets flipped over here. Looked kind of ugly, but he popped right back up, back in the huddle.
That little counter play right up the middle has been there tonight. King busted one open on the second play of the game, so Lakeland's got to find an answer to kind of clog up that hole. Good looking running back is Dwan King. Taylor looking for the screen, nobody there, and he just throws it up, has to get rid of it. And the Lakeland defense will hold on third down, force a 4th and 5. Number 99 there to make the play. Weber Stanis wreaking havoc on that play.
Well, they got up in his face and he was looking for it, but there was just guys already there. The defenders were already where the screen was supposed to go. They're supposed to, you know, you're trying to lull them in to chase the quarterback and throw over the top. They weren't going for that this time.
So Kevin Holland will come on to kick it away. Back to receive it for the Dreadnaughts is Paul Wilson. Nice kick. Wilson at the 20. Paul Wilson with room. Wilson down the sideline. One man to beat. And Paul Wilson has a Lakeland touchdown.
We already saw 11 defensive and special teams touchdowns on the season. Now they've got 2 on the night and makes a beautiful cut. We saw a cut just like that by Chris Cousdale of Plant last week, where it looks like he can go ahead and stay outside, turns it inside, goes all the way to the end zone. Great job by the senior.
And the key thing, no flags on a play like that with a lot of teams. The flags fly, but Wilson did a beautiful job of following his blocks.
You said it, Drew, perfectly. He read his blocks. There was a kick-out block that he stepped inside of, and then there was a downfield block that knocked 2 guys out where he's cut inside to the end zone.
He went 79 yards, but a lot of that was not north and south, so Paul Wilson definitely needs a breath.
But he's back in for the 2-point conversion as they try to make it 21.
As Castle under center will go for 2. Little change up here, trying to draw him off sides. And they'll take the timeout. So that's classic Bill Castle right there, trying to to draw the Mainland defenders, maybe catch them napping, and I think a very good strategy.
Yeah, no doubt. Instead of going from the 3-yard line, make the play from the 1.5, half the distance to the goal. Here comes the replay. Initially, right here, he steps out of that and gets the block. Then he turns in here. He gets a good kick-out block, as you see there, and then watch that clean out. Perfect. He got his head and shoulders in front, makes a perfect block, and it's Wilson all the way to the end zone.
Paul Wilson does not have unbelievable numbers as a wide receiver, but number 17 gets more respect around Polk County than probably any other player at his position. Paul Wilson, you can see why Urban Meyer's so high on him, another future Florida Gator.
Well, when you have a great running team like they have, and there's no need to put the ball up most of the time, and they've had so many running clocks this season that you really can't have a chance to get as many plays in and do those types of things. So they give him another shot here. This time, Mainland says no way.
They try the end around, and there to make the play, Anthony Ham there to wrestle down Paul Wilson by the jersey. So Lakeland will have to settle for a 12-point lead off the big play from Wilson. This was the 2-point conversion, and Mainland had that one sniffed out all the way.
Yeah, usually you don't try slow developing plays on 2-point conversions down there. You want to hit it fast. You do bring your quarterback out and roll him out, but usually on that type situation you want to hit it quick.
The running game so key all season long for Lakeland. Let's call them the Land Rovers tonight. Two guys that have elevated their game, Chris Rainey and Jamar Taylor. Those guys have been outstanding. Rainey has put on a show in the early going. Taylor has been quiet so far, but expect that to not stay that way throughout the night. Just a matter of time before Jamar Taylor, we call his name, and Paul Wilson, the other main weapon on this Lakeland team, racing 73 yards on the punt return to give Lakeland a 19-7 lead. Bryant Stadium tonight packed to the rafters. They were waiting in line for this game as early as 4 o'clock for general admission seats. And one of the great high school atmospheres in the country right here in Lakeland. Little squib kick fielded by Mainland that time, and the Buccaneers will have outstanding field position as Antonio Bell has it. We were just talking about Chris Rainey, Jamar Taylor. There's the numbers. I mean, you look at kind of how Taylor, as a sophomore, only 384 yards, but look at as a sophomore the numbers on Chris Rainey. That's what's so amazing. 2004, over 1,700 yards.
Well, and look at the two at 2005, at 2,800 yards on the year and 47 touchdowns. They follow that up with another 2,800 yards and 36 touchdowns. So they're just amazing on the ground. And that does happen because of those front 5 guys. They don't usually get their names and their faces on TV as much, but Rainey's already had plenty of room to run.
So great field position here for Mainland. They start now after a penalty on the Lakeland 46-yard line. A great opportunity for Mainland to get more points.
Starting out of the gun for the first time on a first down situation as well.
Derek Taylor rolls to his left, looking for a receiver and cannot connect. As number 9 was there, Ortiz Oreen.
And Derek Taylor takes a hit from Stannis right here after. Let's go. I think that's a clean shot. And but Taylor does get up limping, and he still is about 15, 20 seconds after the play. He may have to come out of the game. If he does, we're probably going to see a freshman quarterback. He's going to stay in.
Taylor, he ain't coming out of this game.
He's a tough man.
You can see, though, he is a little gimpy.
St. Augustine East High School 21, Tallahassee Lincoln 0.
Second down for Mainland. Derek Taylor under center. Taylor, pressure up the middle. That's a live ball. That's a live ball, but they say it's incomplete. But that time, Jeff, it looked like he clearly threw it behind him.
I think, Drew, you have exactly the perfect sitting position to see that. That was a backwards pass, and I cannot believe that they didn't call that. the line judge, the side judge that would be seeing that angle, must have been up the field looking for a play to go forward as opposed to being on the side. But that was definitely a backwards pass. Derek Taylor may be hurting his team right now by staying in the game, because you can see he's gimpy. He's not ready to throw the ball, and then he dumps it backwards right there.
Clearly a backwards pass. A big break for Mainland, and the crowd knew it. You heard the response. Now the Bucks facing a 3rd and 10, and only 2 yards, as King can only get to the 43, so that'll bring up a 4th down and 7 yards. And a very ugly possession for these Buccaneers. They will trot off the field. The biggest concern right now, their quarterback, Derek Taylor, who still has not recovered fully from that big hit.
He has to go be honest with his coach and let him know what he's feeling, because Coach Moranto has to make a decision on that. Right now, they can't really throw the ball well. He's not going to be able to push off his back foot and step into his throws. At least it didn't look like he could on that final 2 plays.
Ahmad Black will let this one bounce, and they down it at the 12-yard line. That's where Lakeland will start. Both of these teams, Mainland and Lakeland, have a postseason series history. They have met in key games in the past. 1995, Mainland won those other 2 meetings, though. 96 and 2004, those games belonged to the Dreadnaughts.
The playoff history of the 2 schools, not between the 2 schools, is just absolutely amazing.
What's great about this environment, Jeff, is these fans not only love their Dreadnaughts, but they just love high school football in general. You hear the scores from the other games around the state and the response coming from these fans. Like, everybody has a stake in any particular game. It's really great.
Knowledgeable fans about what's going on.
Very knowledgeable. We are thrilled to be here tonight out in Polk County as they give us to Chris Rainey, and that's the shortest run of the night for Chris Rainey. Is Mainland finally able to wrap him up? A loss of 3 yards, bring up a 2nd and 13.
Well, so far in the first half, basically it seems like if Lakeland self-destructs is about the only way they're going to lose this football game. I mean, it's only a 6-point, it's now a 12-point game, but the only way that this Lakeland team is going to lose this is if they put the ball on the ground like they did on the first series, which allowed Mainland to make a big play on offense, but they look very, very tough.
Long yardage situation for Castle, and Lakeland's going to be careful in this territory, content just to give it to their running backs, and Chris Rainey, nothing doing on 2nd down. It'll be another loss of a yard for the Dreadnaughts right now, going backwards.
And, you know, in this type of situation, Drew, you think 3rd and 15, and you said be very careful. That's exactly right. They're at their own 7-8 yard line. Run the ball again. Whether you let Chris go outside and give him some space or not is a choice that they'll make. But do not put the ball up no matter what, because you just saw what the defense is doing now. Right now, Mainland isn't a threat unless they break a big running play, but they're not going to do it from throwing it, at least at this point. So punt the ball away, even if you put it at your 35, and play on defense again.
Blair Castle's going to be very careful with it in this situation. And you can see why Mainland's defense is so stingy. That time, there to stack up Jamar Taylor. These kids are tough against the run. Robert Slater there to make the stop, along with Anthony Ham, number 41, and Lakeland will punt it away.
We talked about being conservative. There is no more conservative outside of a quarterback sneak than what they tried. So that's exactly what we talked about. Punt the ball away, live to play another day. And really, you don't want to put the ball wide open for him because he can return this ball, so it's a low kick.
Matt Roddenberry kicks it, and it's a low kick. It actually hit Rainey in the helmet. And it'll be touchdown there at the 43-yard line. They will mark it. 5:51, 2nd quarter. Lakeland leads 19-7. Back after this on the Cats 47 Game of the Week. Back here midway through the 2nd quarter, a 1st down for Mainland at the 43. Taylor looking for a man at the 39, and it is caught. They do rule it a catch. as Antonio Bell is there to squeeze it. And down south in Fort Lauderdale, Manatee has extended their lead over St. Thomas Aquinas, 15-0. That a rematch of the state semifinal game last year in Class 5A, in which St. Thomas Aquinas actually beat Manatee in that same game. Earlier today, Victory Christian falling by 4 to FAMU High up in Tallahassee. They go straight up the gut. But Lakeland's defense there waiting for him. Calvin Shaw there to make the stop. So after the very first drive of the game, this Lakeland defense has made the adjustments, and they have been tough since that second play. They have not let this Mainland offense go anywhere.
Yeah, they really have. And I think that Mainland's been putting a pretty good offensive game plan together, mixing it up, trying different angles, different types of plays. But Lakeland just can move around. The athletes are so great. And they put the big hit on Taylor, which I think changed his football game.
Well, you can tell by the reaction what the call is. A personal foul on the Dreadnaughts. And that will march Mainland forward now to the 23-yard line.
I think that's their third 15-yard penalty so far on the night.
Dreadnaughts have to be careful. Taylor, play fake. Got a man open, 10-yard line. Nice play. And it is Antonio Bell with another first down and another flag on the play. This looks like a face mask at the 10-yard line.
Very big play for Mainland right there, especially to see Derek Taylor come out running with the ball, turn his shoulders and hips, get himself in line to throw it, and then deliver a strike. That was nice. So that'll help Mainland get back on line here with their quarterback.
Derek Taylor, not a very prolific quarterback, but you could tell his leadership, his presence out there for Mainland, just huge for this Buccaneer team. He'll go for the fade on first down, and it's a little bit too far, intended for Antonio Bell. Derek Taylor, very efficient. He is the center of this West Coast Mainland offense. John Moranto just raved about him this entire week. Said we would definitely not be here if it were not for Derek Taylor.
Well, you can kind of feel the change in offensive game plan as they drop down to 12 points behind before the half. Got 4.5 minutes left, but they have turned to much more of a passing team here in the second quarter.
Kenny Wilson, the running back, and he'll take the pitch. Wilson will cut it back, and Kenny Wilson has a Mainland touchdown. Heck of a run by Wilson to get into the end zone, put his head down. And Lakeland's lead has been cut to 6 points.
Looks like he got a little shaken up on the run too, but this is one of the better 5-yard runs you're gonna see. He makes a great cut, gets inside, still had to find his way through it, but gets to the end zone. Very nice run from 5 yards out.
Are we seeing some good running back play tonight? Extra point up, and extra point good. So now 19-14. That Dreadnaughts lead cut to 5.
Here he comes. Watch him make the cut again. Right there, gets to it. He has to stop his feet, but then to step inside and get to the end zone was a great job.
Well, John Brown was there first, and watch the move right there. Just kind of froze him.
Then forces his way, even though, look at that, 4 Dreadnaughts trying to fight him back, but he gets to the end zone. And is it any wonder? We talk about how much talent is in the state of Florida. Overall, you got a lot of offensive linemen. The Pouncey brothers going to University of Florida. There's talent all out throughout the state. But as we get to these finals, you see why these teams are so great because of the athleticism.
Now, the one thing that Lakeland has a clear advantage tonight, these guys that are making all the plays, Kenny Wilson, Dwan King from Mainland, these guys are also playing on defense. They are not nearly as deep on the Buccaneers side as they are on the Dreadnought side. That could be a factor late in this game.
It has to make a difference. Has to.
Chris Rainey only plays offense, and you see the bursts of speed when he gets the ball. He is not tired at all, and you can tell Mainland does not even want to mess with him. They kick it out of bounds and says, we have seen enough of number 3. We don't need to see him on special teams.
Yeah, they've been trying to work on that type of a kick off, and this one goes out of bounds, so that doesn't help him much.
Several key matchups to look at tonight, but keep an eye on when Lakeland has possession. The running backs, Rainey and Taylor, against the great pair of linebackers for Mainland. Slater and Ware, as good as any tandem in the state of Florida. So far, Rainey has won that battle. Jamar Taylor yet to really get out of the gates. They will re-kick this ball, so after it was kicked out of bounds, they'll just do the same thing again. And curious why, Jeff, the ball's kicked out of bounds. Why even kick it again?
Well, think about this. You have your playmakers. Wilson's out there. Okay, he already returned one. They have decided that they're not kicking it to Rainey, so kick it to Wilson. If he catches it and he doesn't have to fair catch it, he can take it up the field and maybe score. Who knows what he might do with it. So if he kicks the ball up high enough, if Pauling gets it up high enough, they'll have to fair catch it. If not, they might be able to get a good return.
And it will be Wilson here getting the ball. He'll pitch it back to Rainey. And Rainey that time finally takes a shot at the 32-yard line. So Mainland finally gets a chance to put a real hat on him, as the whole Mainland side that time was on their feet.
You know, that's one of the things of Rainey's running style. He doesn't take the big shots all that often. Remember, Marcus Allen never got so many yards in high school, college, and the pros, but he never took those big shots. Rainey doesn't either. They tried. This time, Mainland wins that exchange. They kicked the ball out of bounds. They could have taken it at a better spot, but Lakeland is so confident in what they can do, especially with Rainey, Wilson, and all those guys, that they wanted to take that shot.
James Pouncey, we just looked at, number 66. His brother LaShawn wears 55. They're the guys opening the holes. But right now, the Manatee is, or Mainland rather, shooting those gaps. That time, 45. Terrence Wiley. He is just a sophomore. Chris Rainey, the last 3 carries have gone for negative yardage.
Just talking about that matchup of the running backs versus the linebackers. Those linebackers, this time he comes from the outside line of scrimmage and makes that play in the backfield. And I mean, a 5-yard loss on a run. Mainland's been doing a good job bottling him up so far, but he'll get his shots. He'll, you know, it'll be a stop here, a stop there, and then all of a sudden he's going to be going the distance again.
Chris Rich, the wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. It's a little pitch to Rainey. Rainey cuts it up. Boy, look at this guy run. Stays on his feet to the 44 and has a first down. So far, Jeff, what's interesting is Blair Castle, the Lakeland quarterback, yet to really make a play. Lakeland just getting so creative with their running game, and that's how they're eating up all these chunks of yards.
Like I say, only if they make their own mistakes are they going to lose most of their football games. This Mainland's fighting back, and you would expect that in a state semifinal game, so it's a 5-point game, but Lakeland is fantastic, and unless they put the ball on the ground themselves for 48 minutes, they're going to be able to go up and down the field on just about everybody.
So 1st and 10 from the 44. It's a little fake pitch, and Jamar Taylor again run down in the backfield. Philip Bailey clogs the hole. Taylor right now just shaking his head. He has not been able to even get past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the last 3 times he's touched it, he is, as soon as the ball gets in his hands, he stopped at the line of scrimmage. This time they lose 2 yards on first down. The space is outside. That's where they've had all their success. They need to get back out there, left, right, just hit one side and then the other, and just let their athletes get space. That's where they're the most dangerous.
Wilson and Rich, the wideouts. Wilson in motion, and they give it to Paul Wilson. And Paul Wilson, not much, up to the 42 before he's tripped up. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 12 for Lakeland. Can you make a living, Jeff, just running the football if you're Lakeland.
Absolutely. They've been doing it season after season. They really can. And, you know, I mean, it's play calling and all that, but they ran that particular end around to Wilson on the two-point conversion, and Mainland was ready for it. They're ready for it again, slow developing. That type of a look, I think, is the next time they need to give it to Blair Castle and let him throw over the top. That's where you'll find a big touchdown play.
And Castle will throw it. And that time could not hook up with James Candle. He got a little tied up that time. Campbell could not shake free.
Well, this is a bad choice to throw the ball. Castle should not have thrown the ball here. Foster was there before the ball ever got there because it was so easily seen, and that was not pass interference. Foster ran right past it, not pass interference. Not a good spot to throw the ball, though.
Roddenberry to kick it away. Oreen will pick it up at the 20. And Oreen down the sideline. Out of bounds at the 50, and a coach goes flying. And just as one coach goes flying, about three others come up to congratulate the return, and Oreen.
Well, you mentioned that Chris Rainey doesn't play defense, and neither do any of the other offensive stars. But on special teams, he just made basically a touchdown-saving tackle on that, throwing Oreen out of bounds. It's only Rainey between him and in the end zone. Rainey makes a big play.
Rainey doing it all so far tonight, but Lakeland's going to lead. They're going to need a little bit more. Taylor, little screen pass, and it's 4 yards for Dwan King.
Mainland kind of decided to make it a passing offense in the second quarter, but now they're definitely in that situation with just over a minute left.
Mainland trying to go into halftime with a lead. They trail right now by five rather. A touchdown and an extra point would put them up 2. Out of the shotgun, Taylor, 3 wideouts, looking to his right, down the field. Had a man open, but Oreen was overshot. Nice job on the coverage by Ahmad Black.
Yeah, that was good coverage on over the top and down the side. Kind of your cover 2 look. One guy's underneath, one guy's over the top. You try to stick this in, but you're not going to stick it in with a big looping pass. You have to fire that ball in before the safety can get over there. That ball landed about 4 or 5 yards out of bounds.
So Taylor still a little bit gimpy after taking that big shot by Stannis earlier this quarter. But Mainland has been able to hang around in this first half, and they go with a little draw, and it's another nice run. A yard shy of a first down, Dwan King takes it up to the 40-yard line.
Very nice play call. They've been throwing the ball regularly. This time they get the pump fake and bring it back underneath. Like that one a lot. Almost pick up a first down.
And Mainland will take a timeout. They want to talk about it. It's 4th down and a little more than a yard. Several running backs so far, over 100 yards. King, 109 yards. Look at the average. Over 15 a carry, that's what happens when you take your first run. 83 yards. Mainland, they have monsters on defense. These guys have done it throughout the history of their program. Look at the 8-time undefeated streak at districts, 5 times champs at regionals. They have set Volusia County on fire. They have been dominating. 23 shutouts since the year 2002. And look at the guys that go on to play at the next level. 41 Mainland graduates playing on Saturdays this season.
It's a pretty good factory. Thinking about this, you only have 4 years for your guys to leave and play, so that's 10 guys per class playing that have left just in the last 4 years.
Taylor on 4th and 1, tries to draw him off and ends up handing it off, and Kenny Wilson gets the first down himself. You know, anytime I think of Daytona Beach, Mainland, I think of Vince Carter. Went to North Carolina.
He built a big facility for them, didn't he?
Yes, he is a legend in Daytona. The great basketball player who now plays for the New Jersey Nets. Started his career with the Toronto Raptors. Went on to play college ball at North Carolina for Dean Smith. And have had many other athletes, though, come out of their athletic program. We're seeing a lot of them tonight.
I'm surprised, Drew, that on first down, after picking up the first down, you get a stoppage of the clock, and then you take your first down to ground the ball. I know there's only 38 seconds left in the half, and they have to make some big plays here, but I'm surprised with the stoppage of the clock that they couldn't call a play from the sideline and get it in without wasting a down.
2nd and 10. Taylor looking downfield. Wilson, did he catch it? No.
Feet were out of bounds before he got there, I believe. It was a great throw. I really think there's a good throw on Taylor, who's really struggling with his ankle or his knee, but he made a beautiful throw, but I think Wilson stepped out of bounds before the ball got there.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 10. Clock winding down here before halftime, 31 seconds.
Drew, something that's going to be critical is what happens to Taylor's ankle or knee during the halftime shutdown. If it tightens up, we could see a different quarterback for the second half.
Their backup quarterback is only a freshman, but right now Taylor does not plan on at least going out of the game, as his pass to Brune Foster is incomplete.
Now they bring up 4th down, and this goes back to first down, what I said about wasting that play by grounding the clock. They're on 4th down and 10 instead of 3rd down and 10. And I think that they should have been able to call a play from the sideline that you practice your 2-minute drill when you have a stoppage of clock when it's a first down and they stop that clock.
So with 27 seconds to go, Mainland will just go for it. Not worried about turning the ball over to the Dreadnaughts on offense. Taylor under pressure, gets out of it, and will heave it downfield. Got a man out there, and it's incomplete. Steve Wilkes was there to jump up high and deflected as Dwan King was the intended receiver. And right now, the most important thing for Derek Taylor is just, as you said, Jeff, keep that knee loose.
Well, he took another one for the team right here. You see him in the face of the big hit coming at him. It didn't look like it was too big of a hit, but he was willing to take that shot. But I'm just concerned for him as he sits down at halftime. If that leg tightens up on him, he's holding his knee, or at least touching his knee. We'll see what it is, but that could tighten up on him and really be difficult to get loosened up for the second half.
19 seconds to go for this Dreadnaughts offense. Definitely enough time, especially when you got weapons like Chris Rainey and Jamar Taylor in your backfield. Will they just take one play and go to the locker room? Yes, they will. Lakeland content with running in at halftime with a 5-point lead. These Dreadnaughts were down 7-0. They came back, took a 19-7 lead, and they head to the locker room leading by 5. Halftime festivities coming up. Lakeland leading by 5 on the Cats 47 Game of the Week State SemiFinal. Halftime of the Cats 47 Game of the Week, the 5A State SemiFinal. Lakeland with a 5-point lead over the Mainland Buccaneers. Lakeland going for their 3rd straight state championship. This game got off to a very fast, and I mean fast start. Mainland recovers an early fumble, and on their first possession, going to the house, 83 yards was number 12, Dwan King.
He's got such a good stride. He just hasn't gotten any other chances, maybe 1 or 2, but really a nice runner. But this guy is absolutely special, and he goes to the house on this run.
Chris Rainey responds, off to the races himself. Just when the momentum was going Mainland's way, that's what Lakeland can do. This also, I think, the biggest play of the game. On special teams, the fumble forced It was forced by Quentin Campbell, and Ahmad Black picks it up.
And because it came right off that Chris Rainey run, it was the return. It looked like Mainland was going for a big return, and then it turns over to a touchdown.
And then it was Paul Wilson also doing the job on special teams, got a few blocks. The skill players for Lakeland, superior, so head and shoulders above maybe any of the other ones on any other teams across the state. But Mainland can still play. Up the gut, Kenny Wilson goes 5 yards, and it is 19-14. Both of these teams doing a heck of a job running the football. Lakeland has 164 yards, although Jamar Taylor has done absolutely nothing thus far. We're only a half through. Passing, neither team has really made anything happen. Taylor has a few completions. Total yards to Mainland. Turnovers, Lakeland's got to watch that. They've got 2. And penalties also. Lakeland cannot afford many more penalties throughout in the second half. When we come back, Lakeland and Mainland will settle this thing. We will find out which team will represent Class 5A in the championship game down in Miami next weekend. Lakeland leads this battle of undefeated teams in the 5A state semifinal, 5-5. Both of these teams 13-0, but when you really break them down, as far as points allowed, Mainland only 78 to Lakeland's 106. But when you look at the teams that they beat, it was Bayside, Ed White, and Bartram Trail for Mainland going down, and for Lakeland, routes over Brandon and Gaither, and then they also took down Lake Gibson last week 24-3, shutting down a very quality running back in Bilal Powell. The Dreadnaughts, look at the outscoring of opponents just in the postseason, 110-9. That is absolutely dominant.
Rushing the ball, Chris Rainey, 10 for 149 and a touchdown.
The way these two teams stack up,
7 carries for 9 yards.
points per game, Lakeland 15 more than Mainland, so you had an idea that the Bucks were going to have to keep this a very low-scoring game. They're going to have to hold Lakeland in the second half. As far as points allowed, both of these teams don't even surrender 10 points. Rushing, Lakeland 250 a game. And as far as turnovers forced, both over 2 a game. Passing, the Bucks with an advantage there, but not much passing the football this season for Lakeland. And we touched on it in the second quarter. The big question to win this game and to win a state championship, can you do it on the backs of your running backs, Rainey, Taylor, and then Wilson with his misdirection? Basically, we've seen Robert Marv and all the plays he makes. This is kind of like the complete opposite for Lakeland as far as what they do and what they bring.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they can. I think Chris Rainey and the guys up front can make this happen, and you just mentioned it, the misdirection. I think they do enough with it that they can win a state title without throwing the football, basically.
Chris Rainey was phenomenal in that first half. This is him on the edge, putting his head down, breaking tackles, busting loose. This was his first touchdown of the game.
He's not big, but you see he gets the tops of his shoulder pads down for the hit. And when he doesn't give anybody, when you give him the tops of your shoulder pads, you're not giving the defender anything to grab onto. You don't give him your body. And that's why he can break out of so many of those plays.
Chris Rainey is without a doubt the Reggie Bush of high school football. As far as what he does out of the backfield and getting the ball in so many different positions and situations. We just had a score update from South Tampa and Plant High School. The Panthers trail by 1 point to Booker T. Washington, 15-14. So a tight game in South Tampa. As Manatee also, we saw during the statistics and during the commentary, holding on to an 8-point lead against St. Thomas Aquinas.
You know, what we'll see about Mainland is they started out this game, they were in a standard pro set, and they were kind of running the ball, you know, mixing up the pass a little bit more, but running it. As they got down 19-7, they went away from it, and they started basically becoming a shotgun and a passing team. We'll see as the second half unfolds if they, by only being down less than a score, if they go back to being a regular pro style, I guess you could call it, West Coast style offense.
Mainland will have the ball to start this second half. Jamar Taylor just hoping to get back on the field and make something happen. He has been contained by this phenomenal Mainland defense so far. Back to receive for the Bucks, Kenny Wilson, number 5. And it'll be Wilson at the 3. Looking for a block, but doesn't get it. And there to trip him up was Quentin Campbell. The key possession when Mainland has possession is Victor Campbell, the guard for the Buccaneers, against John Brown, the defensive tackle. And in the first half, I think both of these guys kind of had their moments, but Brown was not dominating. That's key for Mainland.
No, Mainland put 14 points up with their offense. So in a game of this magnitude against a team like Lakeland, that's pretty darn good. So I think that's a stalemate, or Victor Campbell gets the win in the first half.
There you see John Brown, number 98. He is a load to block. And the first carry of the second half to Andre Williams, dragging tacklers forward for 8 yards, and a late flag comes down. And I believe we're going to have a face mask.
Face. Defense, 15. First down.
Their third personal foul face mask in a half and one play. There's 45 yards of penalties right there on face masks alone.
That's now 6 penalties for Lakeland. Running back comparison, Dwan King, the other great player on the field that has made plays. Downfield, Taylor looking for it all, and it's picked off. Ahmad Black at the 5-yard line makes the play. So Mainland trying to test the Lakeland secondary, but when you got Ahmad Black back there, he's not an all-stater for nothing.
No, he played it perfectly, but I like the play call. I have no problem with him going deep down the field. Second play of the game, remember, the second play of the second half, they put the ball down at the 8-yard line is where it finishes. So yes, you'd like to control the ball, take it all the way down the field and score, and you know, go up in the second half. But taking this shot, I have no problem with doing that.
Because look at where Lakeland now has the football. As we get a look at Black, he has been phenomenal for Lakeland in 2006, but now Blair Castle in another hole. This is one good way to get out of it. Rainey's loose. 93 yards, you can put it on the board. What just happened? This kid may be the best we have ever seen on the game of the week.
I want to see how much he was touched inside before he gets loose. Of course, we know he's super fast. I want to see what happened inside of there, but that play takes him over 2,000 yards on the season as well, Drew. There it is, breaking that arm tackle there, and he is gone.
245 yards on the night for Chris Rainey. And you saw the big block. It was James Pouncey, number 66, who opened the hole for Rainey. And once Rainey got into the secondary, there was no turning back.
He just went from 152 yards rushing to 245.
I mean, Jeff, when you're an opposing team and you think you got Lakeland all bottled up, I mean, that is absolutely demoralizing.
It really is. It really is. And that, I mean, that's what they've been doing to team after team for 3 straight years now. And you have to play mistake-free football. You have to cover your gaps and be ready to make those plays every single time. You just can't give them those chances. They do it every time.
And speaking of chances, here comes the Lakeland offense back on the field, because after a penalty where there was movement up front for Mainland, the Dreadnaughts now thinking about going for two. They want to take a timeout.
Timeout, Dreadnaughts.
With an 11-point lead and maybe try and make this game 27-14. But
look at that untouched. He does get the, Wilson gets the arm touch in the secondary. Look at it, it was wide open all the way into about 10 yards downfield, and then he just out races to the end zone, of course. But remember earlier in the game when they did miss their extra point, they went for the fake call to try to get it down to the 1 yard line. This is where they get that opportunity. They're going to try to put two on the board.
Chris Rainey now is the all-time leader for a season in rushing for the Lakeland Dreadnaughts with that last carry. Crowd giving him a round of applause, but it's time to strap it right on for the next play. Lakeland will go for two, leading by 11. Try and make this a 13-point game. Goal line formation. They bring Brown into block and they go straight ahead. And it's 2 points for the Dreadnaughts. Did not see who scored. I believe it was Taylor. Jamar Taylor with the 2 points, but the key block coming by Big John Brown, the defensive tackle, coming into the game. Look at the future superstars of the SEC. They are all on this Lakeland team. Jamar Taylor committed to Bama, 6 going to the University of Florida. Rainey, Wilson, Wilkes, Black, and the Pouncey twins all will wear orange and blue. LSU gets Jordan Hammond, and who knows where John Brown is going to go, number 98. A lot of people think he's leaning towards FSU, but we'll just have to wait and see.
A lot of guys declare early so they don't have to deal with recruiters calling them anymore. People are still fired up about trying to get in touch with John Brown until he does declare. You know, Steven Garcia announced that he is going to make a decision, the Jefferson quarterback, that he is going to announce his decision on Wednesday in a press conference.
Well, thanks for letting us know we can have somebody there, because I didn't even know that, Jeff Carlson.
Well, I read the Tampa Tribune.
Out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Kenny Wilson thrown. It was Ahmad Black making the play. Ahmad Black, not only great on the football field, but also on the basketball court. You talk about getting dirty. Kenny Wilson, he's going to need some bleach for that jersey tonight.
Tired and a little bit shook up, and you know, if that play was in the NFL, it would be a penalty. They call that horse collar tackles now. It's a major penalty in the NFL, but they do not have that rule in high school or college.
So first down from the 30. Let's see the health of Derek Taylor. If it can hold up, the first give is to Andre Williams, and Williams turns on the speed. Ahmad Block has to be there to knock him out at the 30. A huge game for Andre Williams.
Black makes another big defensive play, but the block, watch the block by the wide receiver coming right there. That takes out two guys that can't make the pursuit, and he turns the corner, and this kid is special as well. We've been talking about number 3 that wears black for Lakeland, but number 3 right there, Wiggs, is pretty special himself.
40-yard gain on first down for Andre Williams. So the big runs have gone both ways tonight. And just like that, Mainland knocking on the door again. These Buccaneers are not going away. In motion is Wilson. And the handoff up the middle, breaking tackles, another big run for Dwan King. He is close to another Mainland first down.
We watched King early on the early touchdown. I really like his stride, the way he runs. He breaks through 3 or 4 tackles there. Love to see him in the open field as well.
Manatee deadlock now with St. Thomas Aquinas. 15-15, a game to watch. We're in the 3rd quarter down in Fort Lauderdale. Another one of our local teams out of Manatee County fighting for their lives to advance to Miami next week to meet the winner of this game.
And an interesting football score, 15-15. Think about how you get to score 15 points, what you have to do to score 15 points. It's not that easy, so I'd like to find out how that happened.
What a season it has been for Joe Canan and his Hurricanes. We had them on the Game of the Week. That was back in week 1 as they took on Southeast. And Jeff, they looked very sloppy. They did not look like a championship team. A freshman quarterback in Breon Carnes. And what do you know now, 3 months later, facing off with the big boy, St. Thomas Aquinas, trying to get to a state championship game. Derek Taylor tries to force it in, and you saw how fast Ahmad Black was there to react. A great play by number 24.
Yeah, I saw the trouble coming, and probably won't see it on the screen until the last second. Black will come into your screen, but he saw it too because there was no threat to him over the top, and they avoid big trouble right there. Have we called his name enough times? Number 24 making plays all over the field.
Urban Meyer has got to be just absolutely drooling to be getting Ahmad Black and Chris Rainey, best friends and speedsters. Big run for Mainland, and it's Wilson near the 5-yard line. So on 2nd and long, Mainland gets another big run, and it's another Buccaneer first down.
The last time the Buccaneers were in this situation, they threw the ball on 1st and 2nd down, didn't get it, and then gave it to Kenny Wilson, who got it from the 5-yard line. This time he almost does it himself. And again, Black on the tackle.
This Mainland offensive line has been awesome in this game. They have cleared huge holes for Andre Williams, Kenny Wilson, and Ortiz Oreen throughout the night. They are to be commended. They try to go to the well again, and Lakeland there to make the play. It was big number 55 playing on defense, LaShawn Pouncey. You usually don't see them much on defense, but these guys are needed to clog it up, and on this play they do.
Well, they're not the quintessential big, heavy offensive lineman types. These two are athletes, both brothers, and we were talking about the coach up in Florida being happy. There's a couple more that are coming his way.
Well, Jeff, as we said, the Pouncey twins do not play much on defense, but in this situation, Mainland has controlled the line of scrimmage with their offensive line, and Coach Castle going to the switch. Taylor was hit, tried to get it away, and it is incomplete. Looking in the end zone for Antonio Bell, and on the coverage for Lakeland was Devon Terry.
And the way he gets up does not look good, but Taylor barely gets the ball away. Again, Black making a play from the secondary as he rushes. That's the old Rondé Barber style blitz.
Watching Ahmad Black and Chris Rainey play football is kind of like playing PlayStation, where you can just take guys and do whatever you want with them and put the super speed on them. That's how these guys are, like a video game.
I like it. Kings in the backfield trying to get the home crowd pumped up as they get ready.
Taylor will look under pressure, and it's incomplete. Lakeland defense brought the house. And on the blitz, it was the big guy, number 98, John Brown, also there. Nick Moody, number 20, and it's a 4th down for these Buccaneers.
Well, we did try one run and 2 passes, don't quite get it done, and they will kick the field goal. Taylor's going to remember this game, whether they win or lose. He is going to remember this game because he's taken quite a few shots. But they're going to kick this field goal and try to make it a 2-possession ball game.
There is Taylor. He is dirty, he is tired, and he is injured. How much longer can he go? The field goal for Mainland is up and good. So that's 3 points for Kevin Holland, and it trims the Lakeland lead now to 10 points. That is a gutsy performance we are seeing right there by Derek Taylor.
And he is going to have to stay in there because they are going to need him. I mean, it's down 10, and Lakeland's getting the ball back. Last time we saw that, it was Rainey for 95 yards or close to it. So he is going to have a lot more football left in him tonight.
We have had a lot of stops on the Game of the Week this year. Next week, we head to Pinellas County to watch the best football players in our home county, Pinellas. The North takes on the South in the Pinellas County All-Star Game. It's live right here on Catch 47. That's Wednesday, December 6th at 7:30 the Pinellas County All-Star Game. And a reminder, you can watch these Game of the Weeks anytime you want on Bay News 9 On Demand, channel 342. The last 3 Game of the Weeks right there. So all the emails and phone calls we get, Jeff, people requesting DVDs and tapes, all you got to do is go on demand and set your DVD recorder or VCR, and it's yours to keep. Lakeland returns it up across the 30-yard line.
Is that with or without the express written consent of Bright House Networks?
Well, we imagine that everybody that would do that would keep it for their own use in their home and memories.
Exactly. I just remember that sentence always, you know.
Coach Bill Castle. A 10-point lead. And now a quarter and a half away from another state championship game appearance. Can these Dreadnaughts hold on? Total yardage, both of these teams nearly at a standstill. As Rainey gets the carry. And Chris Rainey up to the 35 will pick up 3.
Tackled by number 7, Emmanuel Ware.
Tough job by Ware and Slater inside to rein in Rainey. I mean, this guy just keeps coming at you. He's not big, but like we talked about it, the way he runs, he doesn't get hit a lot, and then he keeps his shoulder pads low, and it just makes it hard to get a good grip on him. And even then, he almost slipped out of that, but he just had guys on both sides that were able to overpower him.
Terrence Wiley on the tackle there, the fastest of these Mainland linebackers. Castle with the flag down. Jamar Taylor, just as he breaks through, a flag is down. So that'll push Lakeland back 5 yards to the 30. Bring up a 2nd and 12. The Castles talking about the play call.
I'm now getting old enough to talk about 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Can't imagine coaching, you know, for 31 straight years and the success that Coach Bill Castle has had. We're now playing this game on Bill Castle Field. An amazing run.
His son hands it off to Jamar Taylor, and Jamar Taylor still yet to really get out of the red. Only 12 yards tonight total for Jamar Taylor.
So, Coach, what were you doing 30 years ago? Oh, I was cruising the sideline of this stadium.
This stadium is an atmosphere unlike any other in high school football. Almost like a college stadium when you look at the stands and the way the field is constructed and the bleachers all the way around the entire stadium. If you have not been to a football game in Lakeland at Bryant Stadium, you have not seen the best in high school football in the state of Florida. Simple as that. Castle rolls out, and there's Jamar Taylor, and Taylor has a Lakeland first down. So Jamar Taylor, unable to make it happen as a running back that time, flared out, and that's a good way to get him involved.
Yeah, make it a nice, easy, no risk or low risk pass, and that referee had to come in from a long ways away to mark that spot, but he did get it right because that was a first down. Nice 3rd down pickup for Lakeland.
The Dreadnaughts ranked #1 at the beginning of the season. They slipped in some polls throughout the year, but still in 3 national polls, they are still the #1 team in the country. And I completely agree. In order to fall out of that spot, someone's got to beat you. That hasn't happened to Lakeland. Rainey.
Well, you know, as you say, you have all of these teams in Urban Meyer, for one, talking about style points, winning in style points. And when you get these people that don't see the games, especially in high school, these voters that talk about college games, they might not see all those games. They just vote because of the point differentials. Well, Lakeland struggled a couple of games. So if another team that particular week won by 50 or 60 because they played a poor team, but didn't see either football game, you get votes like that at the high school level. But this team is a dominant team no matter who they're playing.
Out of the gun. Blair Castle with Jamar Taylor next to him. Will hand off to Taylor. And Taylor wrestled down. Barely even got back to the line of scrimmage. And there to make another tackle, Terrence Wiley has been all over the field. A 4.45 40. Terrence Wiley runs for Mainland. And you got linebackers that run 4.45s. Your defense is going to be pretty good.
That's for sure. And there's there's an awful lot of linebackers around the state of Florida that are fast like that. That's why so many schools from around the country come down here to try to pluck them away.
And Wiley is just a sophomore. So another great sophomore linebacker. Last week we saw Petey Smith. Castle gets it out to Taylor. And there is not much room to run. A good job by Taylor just to get it to the 45 because that should have been a loss.
Yeah, I thought Castle was going to look deep for Wilson, who was running pretty wide open, I thought, but he turned, as you saw his eyes, they went upfield and then quickly went to the flat, just trying to make sure they're taking care of the football, not taking any chances.
So it's a 4th down, and Lakeland sends on the punting team. Matt Roddenberry standing back at his 32. A nice kick. And it's going to take a Lakeland bounce. Can they down it now inside the 5? Yes, they will. Boomer Walters downs it. There is a flag at midfield. So let's check out the flag because this will be the last play before we go to break here with 3:28 to go. But let's check the penalty.
When you have a discussion like this, it's usually, was it before or after possession? As they change possession from offense to defense, when did that penalty take place to see if they're going to kick it again or penalize it after the end of the play?
Or PSK, it'll be a down there.
So they will tack it off on Mainland, so that's even worse field position for the Buccaneers. 10-point lead. Lakeland leads, 3rd quarter. A 10-point lead for the Dreadnaughts. We want to thank Tim Bosco from the Beef O'Brady's in Lakeland for feeding our crew tonight. 4810 on South Florida Avenue in Lakeland. There's the number for all your tailgating needs. Beef O'Brady's, a proud sponsor of the game of the week. They are backed up, and Lakeland may have a safety. And it is 2 points for the Dreadnaughts after the big tackle by Pat Turner. These Dreadnaughts find ways to score points.
Well, this is all you can do if you're Mainland, is try to run the ball straight out of the backfield, and you see it just gets beat up front right at the center, and Pat Turner makes the big play for the points. And I was going to say, Drew, that this was only a 1.5 yard penalty, basically, but it put them close enough to the goal line where that would have been dropped on the 1.5. It gets dropped in the end zone for 2 points. Now they have to free kick. They have the choice, punt or kick off from the 20-yard line.
A big play by Pat Turner. He is just a junior defensive lineman. Making the play for the Dreadnaughts, and right now it is a 12-point lead. You know, we talked about the best players in Pinellas County and how we're going to be at that All-Star game next week. Number 6 for Lakeland is Andrew Knowles, the former quarterback at Clearwater Central Catholic, and he tore his ACL, I believe, Jeff, earlier in the season. You have a personal relationship with him.
I met Andrew many years ago now when he was in 7th grade, and he was a big kid, big, strong, athletic kid, and he's come up through the ranks and played for CCC, but he tore his ACL early in the summer, and he just recently had ACL surgery, but he is going to be at Florida State next year.
They missed him at CCC this season, and he's a kid that if he had stayed in Pinellas County would have been playing in that All-Star game, but he has a chance to get a ring nonetheless and be a part of a state championship team here in Lakeland. Another score update from those Manatee Hurricanes. They just keep on believing. They have taken a 7-point lead over St. Thomas Aquinas. 6 minutes left in this football game. If Manatee pulls this off, let me tell you, I will be absolutely amazed. But, you know, we haven't seen that team since week 1. A lot can happen through the course of a season on how much a team can grow.
We also don't know what St. Thomas Aquinas brings to the table. So, you know, Coach Canan has been a fantastic coach. We've got 2 of them on this field here, and he has proven himself over the years as well.
Rainey tries to take it straight up the middle, 2 yards for the Dreadnaughts. If Coach Canan is to pull off the miracle and get to the championship game, it will be for the first time, of course, since his dramatic comeback in which he had to come back from prostate cancer, was out of coaching for 4 years, then returned to the Manatee program to restore the pride, and oh, has he done that.
You see Blair Castle running back into the huddle. It amazes me, Drew. We've watched it all season long. How many teams make their quarterbacks run to the sideline on every single play? That receivers don't run in the play, or that they don't have a signal system, but that the quarterback has to jog 30 yards across the field on every play.
Rainey trying to get to the edge, and he does. Chris Rainey has a Lakeland first down.
Chris Rainey on the carry.
Boy, he gets there so fast.
John Theodore did a good job just to hold him up, because if he gets this corner, I think he would have had a lot more yards. Check him out. Turns the corner, still got the ball in his right hand, but you see right from behind, just enough of the shoulder to get him to slip down.
Chris Rainey always smiling. A big smile on his face every time we see him.
Hey, if you had a 24-yard per yard carry, you would have a smile on your face too. 2,000 yards on the season.
The Rain Man. We have had so much fun watching him on the game of the week. There he is again. He's got 6 more yards. Down at the 37. How do you think Chris Rainey fits in at the University of Florida? Do you play him at wide receiver, or do you keep him as a running back?
I like the way he runs with the ball now. You know, he's not a really big kid. Obviously, Urban Meyer has a different style of offense, but I don't think they've had a player like him to hand the ball off to, so I'd like to see him stay at running back.
2nd down and 5. Taylor to the 35. Has 2 more. That'll bring up a 3rd down and a long 2. Big question around Jamal Taylor now is with the firing of Mike Shula at Alabama. Is number 25 still headed for Tuscaloosa?
We got that same question with Robert Marv at Plant.
Absolutely.
That's what happens when you change coaches. I mean, these early commitments, you just never know. So that's why they still had all the other guys still stay in there. They want to make sure that they don't get left out in case something happens.
Bigger concern, though, right now is the knee of Jamar Taylor. He humbled off that time. He's usually the short yardage back, but he's not in the game, and they got to give to Rainey, and he is stopped shy of a Lakeland first down.
Yeah, even a loss of about 3 or 4 inches on that particular play, but at the 36-yard line, let's see what Bill Castle decides to do.
Well, Taylor's going to get back into this football game. He hobbled off, but he knows in situations like this, it is no time for those little injuries to creep up on you. As Shelton Quarles says, for the Buccaneers, if you can walk, you can run.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
4th down. The Dreadnaughts trying to draw this Mainland defense off. They can't do it, and Lakeland has to call a timeout.
Well, I didn't think they were going to run the play. Oh, they got to the end of the quarter here.
That's right. That's right. It is the end of the quarter, so Lakeland will begin the 4th quarter with a 12-point lead. 29-17 from Bryant Stadium, 1 quarter away from another state semifinal, state championship berth. You know, we thought that the quarter had not ended, and we were correct right before the break. There's still 2 seconds technically on the clock for this third quarter. So Lakeland now will face their 4th and 2 at the end of the third, and Chris Rainey is not going to get there. Tripped up by Chauncey Gordon, the defensive tackle making the play. And the Buccaneers will take over on downs. Time for our trivia question. In 2002, Lakeland advanced to the regional finals and Mainland to the state semifinals. But which Bay Area team beat both of those teams on the way to the state championship game? We'll give you the answer in just a few minutes. Lakeland has done outstanding on defense tonight. Mainland has had many opportunities, but for the most part, giving up only 17 points to this team is pretty good. Against the run, they've struggled at times. But on third downs, especially in the red zone, the Dreadnaughts have held up pretty well.
You don't get to be number one. You don't get to be a national champion without those types of things. They've carried the tradition on throughout this football season. Right there, the big play by Turner. But also, Mainland on the other side, against this powerful team, has had their big defensive plays on 2-point conversions on this particular last 4th down try. I didn't think that Lakeland was going to go for it because they switched out their big guys. It was 4th and 2, and they switched out their big guys for wide receivers and then pitched the ball out of it. And credit Gordon for making the big play on Rainey.
So trailing by 12, here's Mainland, and the handoff is to Andre Williams. He's got a yard up to the 40.
I will be surprised, Drew. Right now, I'm going to make a little prediction that Mainland has to go to the shotgun. Based on what I just saw Derek Taylor do, turning around, he can barely maneuver on his knee to turn around and work the running game handoffs. They're going to need to. I'm just saying this. They're going to need to put him in shotgun and let him deliver the ball from that position or hand it off from there. He can't really make the maneuvers that he needs to make in the running game because of his first half injury.
I formation for Mainland. Daniel McFadden lined up closest to us, and Taylor will play fake and hit his man, Dwan King. And King has 2 yards, but there's a flag on the play, and so far tonight, those flags have not meant good news for Lakeland.
Based on what Mainland's doing, they say it is against them again.
5-yard incidental fake miss on black, still 2nd down.
That's their first incidental face mask of the night. They've had 3 that were personal fouls. This one goes for a 5-yard. And you see Taylor coming out, doesn't have to pivot on his knee, so he's able to get the little sideline flat pass out. But really, he is struggling on that knee now. I think they're going to have to do something about the style of plays that they call.
So after the penalty, it's 2nd and a long one.
They need a tight end. They need a receiver on the end of the line of scrimmage up on top.
Taylor.
And you see the penalty flag.
Will try and throw, and taking the hit is Kenny Wilson. Up to make the stick was Brian Valdez. Another flag on the play.
That's called an illegal formation, Drew. They never had a receiver on the outside of the line of scrimmage. So before that play ever happened, we knew they were going to. At least the flag should have gone up, and it did.
False start against the Buccaneers.
That's not truly called a false start. They have an illegal formation. You have to have a eligible receiver on the end of the line of scrimmage. They left their tackle uncovered. Both the up back and the wide receiver were off the line of scrimmage.
On the line, white is declined.
Penalty is declined. The play results in a 3-yard loss on the pass completion.
So, after the decline penalty, it's a 3rd and 5 for Mainland. This is a big play because time now starting to work in Lakeland's favor.
Uh-oh, they're going to do it again. They got the same problem on this side. There's another penalty.
There's another flag. Wilson trying to throw it. And the ball's on the ground. Lakeland may have this one, as Wilson lost it near midfield, and it is Lakeland football.
You think they'll decline the penalty?
I think so.
I think so. But Drew, two unforgivable penalties at this late stage of the season to line up twice in illegal formations.
False start against the Buccaneers. Dreadnaught football.
Let's see here who knocked it away. It was number 5, Calvin Shaw, who forced that fumble.
They just came out in those plays, and really the receivers came out and were unsure of the formation call, and then they didn't line up properly 2 times in a row.
So Blair Castle and the Lakeland offense with another chance to score points. Before they can call the play, though, flags all over the field. Never mind.
That series really, I think you called it crucial. I think that really is the ball game because, you know, Lakeland's going to hold the ball right now. There's 10 minutes. There's still a lot of time on the clock. But with the 12-point lead and the ball on the plus side of the field for Lakeland, they hold this for a minute or two. Even if they give it up, they've got to go so far twice in a row, or at least twice, that I think this game is all but in the books.
They go straight up the middle to Jamar Taylor. And if there's one thing that Lakeland will look at in the films tomorrow and on Sunday, it's how to get Jamar Taylor more involved, because no matter who they play next week for a state championship game, you have got to have as your offense at least another option aside from Chris Rainey, although Rainey has shown tonight that he can carry an offense on his back. But I think next week, Taylor has got to be productive as well.
Yeah, they may need to rethink some of the inside trap game. Maybe not just straight ahead blocking, but running some traps to create some more space for Taylor inside.
Rainey with the spin move gets it to the 41. They're 4 yards shy of the first. Watch the move right there.
Looked like he was ice skating there for a second, slipping into that spin.
The great battles we had with Lakeland and Hillsborough over the past few years, when Chris Rainey would score off against Jared Faison, the great Hillsborough quarterback. Next year, those guys, of course, will be teammates at the college level. Faison already productive for the Gators this year. Another run to Taylor that is stuffed. Emmanuel Ware that time to make the stop, and for Taylor, 11 carries, 12 yards. And not only that, Jeff, but I wonder if he's 100% healthy. He's just not looked like himself on most of those carries tonight.
Yeah, we did see him come off, I think it was the last series where he was definitely hurting. I think, you know, up front, give Mainland some credit on the defense. They've stuffed up that inside. It hasn't been Taylor necessarily. He's been stopped as soon as he's touched the ball on a half a dozen carries.
Kenny Wilson takes his shot at the 5-yard line. Now the question is, did he fumble it? Referees getting together and talking this over.
Couldn't see it from our vantage point of when the ball came loose. He got spun around after I think he broke a tackle and then got spun around pretty hard. This will be the second time in a row as in as many touches that he put the ball on the ground. This time it's ruled that he was down.
It is Mainland football. As we get another look, he did take a shot. Right there, it was Wilkes lowering the boom. But it is Mainland football. Our trivia answer: in 2002, Lakeland advanced to the regional finals and Mainland to the state semifinals. Which Bay Area team beat both of those teams on the way to a state championship game? The answer is Wharton. The Wildcats, with Batman Wood, the coach, beat Lakeland and Mainland. Lost to Ely in the state championship game. Batman Wood. Now the coach at Wharton, David Mitchell, another successful year for the Wildcats, as Nick Moody makes another big tackle for Lakeland.
You know, we're in the winner-go-home playoffs, obviously. I don't think that you have the luxury of being conservative here with 7.5 minutes left and down by 12. You can't play the I'm going to hand off for a while till I get out of this hole. You've got to start unloading some plays that have potential for big plays.
Derek Taylor has been gutsy tonight at quarterback for Mainland, but does he have enough to lead these Buccaneers down the field? Andre Williams stopped. So those big holes that were there for Mainland throughout the first 3 quarters that led to big runs now becoming smaller and smaller.
And Taylor is taking himself out of the football game. Or no, he's not. He's just taking a long time. But he better be careful about how long it takes him to get to the huddle and get this team up to the line of scrimmage. They may get a delay of game here on a 3rd and 10 based on how long it's taken this play to come off.
You are right, Jeff. Let's see if they can get this play off. They may have to burn a timeout. They do get it off. Taylor under pressure took a shot, but it is complete to the 11-yard line. Ortiz Orien has it, and it was another big shot taken by number 13, Derek Taylor. It will bring up a 4th down nonetheless.
It's tough, you know. You're in this situation, and there's 5.5 minutes left in the game, but you're giving the ball away to Lakeland again, even though you need a minimum of 2 possessions. You hate to lose by a large margin in a tough fought game, but you also giving the ball away with 5 minutes left.
Well, they will kick it away. Wilson, the fair catch at the 45-yard line. 5:31 separates Lakeland from another state championship appearance. We're back to Polk County right after this. As Lakeland takes over for another possession with 5:31 to go. Scoring updates from today. Victory Christian from Polk County falls in the state championship game for 1B by 4. 14-10. Ball on the ground, and here comes Mainland. Just when you thought they were dead, they will score a touchdown. That's Ortiz Orien on the fumble recovery, and he races to the end zone to make this thing interesting.
All my talk about things happening, and what did I say early in the game about self-destructing? That's the only way they could lose this game. I still don't think they're going to lose this football game, but what a great play by Orien to be ready to go to find this. Rainey puts the ball on the ground, and it pops. What a perfect pop. Now watch Taylor chase this down. I thought he was going to get him. He was turning his feet over to make this tackle. Just not enough. Great play to the end zone.
And it was Rainey that time hesitating a little bit just as he got to the line. And that allowed a defender to pop that ball out of his arms, and just like that, this is now a 6-point game.
But hey, you know what? They have things called onside kicks. So they can come right back out here, do an onside kick, and get the ball again, and you just never know. That's why they play the games.
Now, question is, no, they will kick the extra point. It looked like for a while they were setting up, but there's no need to go for 2.
Exactly right.
A touchdown either way gives Mainland the lead.
And they will need a 6-pointer.
And the kick is good, so 29-24. Hang on to your seats. This baby is not done yet.
And now a 6-point touchdown wins the ball game. They went for 2 and missed it. A 6-pointer would only tie the football game. So now they have a chance if they score. Watch this again. Chris Rainey out here. He's been doing a good job. He protects the ball pretty well, but pulled it back just slightly enough. The defense gets there, makes the play.
It was Ortiz Orien. He plays defensive back and wide receiver that time. Johnny on the spot to pick it up and race for a Mainland touchdown.
He's made a lot of big plays on the return game, on the defense. He's been there all night long, and like you said, he was on the spot for that one. And he had to put him up and turn him down to get to the end zone. Taylor was chasing him down hard.
Manatee and St. Thomas Aquinas knotted at 22, heading into overtime down in Fort Lauderdale.
Drew, remember the last time, or all night long, Mainland's been kicking the ball away from Rainey, trying to pop the ball up in the air. I don't know if it was last time or not, but Holland kicked the ball out of bounds. We'll see what happens on this one. Squibb.
Lakeland just needs to fall on it right now. They do at the 30. Another scoring update in South Tampa. All eyes on the Plant Panthers. Will they get down to Miami? Well, right now they are holding on to a 5-point lead. Plant leading Booker T. Washington 20-15 at Dad Stadium. So we will continue to keep you updated on that score as well. So Manatee in overtime with St. Thomas, and the Plant Panthers leading by 5 at Dad Stadium. This game, all of a sudden, very interesting. A 5-point game with plenty of time for the Dreadnaughts as flags litter the field.
I think that's going to be illegal participation.
Illegal substitution, flag, still a first down.
Too many players on the field, basically. You cannot have too many players report to the huddle, because it makes an unfair advantage for the defense to know what personnel you have in the game and to be able to make their changes. You can only have 11 guys go out there. And actually, when Taylor, for the quarterback for Mainland, does it, he ran out, they run a receiver in, and then they run a receiver back out when he goes in.
Crunch time now for the Dreadnaughts on a 1st and 15. It's Jamar Taylor. Most running room he's had all night long. 7 yards to the 32-yard line. The running backs tonight have been the story of this football game. Our Lakeland Land Rover elevate your ground game players. Chris Rainey, Jamar Taylor. There's the numbers tonight. 284 yards combined, 2 touchdowns, 1 2-point conversion. Most of that yardage coming from Chris Rainey. Jamar Taylor has not had one of his better nights. And they'll give it to Taylor again. Jamar Taylor. That's clutch running. Up to the 40. A Lakeland first down. Clock now coming up on 4 minutes. So it's crunch time. And even though we struggled all game long, they go to Jamar Taylor.
Yeah, and they have not shown this Rhino backfield in the middle of the field all night long. They've used it in short yardage and down by the goal line, but they bring it in with 3 backs in the backfield, trying to just power it out. And by getting that first down, they're going to take another 2 minutes off the clock before another decision has to be made, even if they are stopped at 3rd down, you know, something like that.
So it's a 1st and 10. Castle gives to Rainey. Chris Rainey looking for one more big hole. A 2-yard gain on 1st down. This is the final game on the Game of the Week football-wise, where we are actually televising 2 high schools playing. It will be a all-star game next week, but the crew has just been absolutely stellar this year. And next week we take our Act 2 Pinellas for the North and South game, live on Catch 47. That's Wednesday, December 6th at 7:30 p.m. The best football players in Pinellas County. Lakeland trying to ground out more yards on the ground, and it's maybe a yard for Jamar Taylor. It has been an awesome year, though, Jeff, in our first season covering football together. And I got to mention our crew, like our director, Ed Bodker, our audio man, Paul Kitwood, Demetrius Koromilis with the graphics in Chiron, Chris McCauley, our producer, Ken O'Leary on tape, Wes Crowell on camera, Tony Tharp as well, Stephanie Stockmeister with the high camera, along with William Duffin. That's William right there. Adam Westrich hustling his butt off down on the sideline with Jason Kitwood up high. James Austin, our engineer, with Tim Hoffman And of course, Jeff Carlson, yourself, as we get a look at Adam Westridge, but so proud to be a part of this crew on the Game of the Week. And it was sort of a rebuilding year for our crew, and everybody just elevated their game as well as the season went along. Well, it's been fun. The teams that we have covered have stepped up, and we have had so many great games. We had those overtime games early in the year, the Winter Haven and Armwood overtime game, Land O'Lakes, Pasco, these playoff games. It has been a wonderful year from start to finish, really seeing some great football. Third down for the Dreadnaughts. They go to their money man, and Rainey has a Lakeland first down and more. A fitting way to end as Rainey has a Lakeland touchdown. What a player. Is that 300 yards plus on the night from him on the ground? Well, they said he was the number 2 running back in the state of Florida behind Noel Devine. Guess what? I disagree. Well, Devine better be pretty darn good if you're going to be better than number 3. He is something special. And Drew, you asked if they could do it on the ground all the way to the state title. Well, they got to win a game next week, but yes, sir, they can get there on the ground. They did it all night long. Well, they also had those special teams. Don't want to forget those special teams touchdowns, but Chris Rainey is something else. Chris Rainey is the Michael Jordan of high school football in the state of Florida this season. Just when you thought you've seen his best run, he's got another one for you. The extra point is no good. But Lakeland has an 11-point lead now with 2 minutes and change to go. Chris Rainey, like a great player that wants the ball in crunch time, Chris Rainey has delivered runs tonight at times when Mainland has just had things going their way. Well, and think about this too. The last possession, he put the ball on the ground. That cost him 7 points and made this a ball game again. Made it tense late in the game when it shouldn't have been. So he definitely amends for that mistake and puts another. I mean, that record-setting performance in the playoffs. That's really where your great players stand up, and he's done it. Check him out, making that cut. An exhausted defense, and he just makes them pay. He has a gear that no other player on the field has. And he's got the ability to step out of those late tackles that are on his ankles and stuff and really not even break stride and be able to keep it going. And down in Fort Lauderdale, Manatee and St. Thomas Aquinas headed to their second overtime, so both teams have scored a touchdown in that first overtime. Right now, it's 29-29, headed to overtime number 2. Wow, what a game down there. Our photographer, Randy Levine, must be having a ball down there in South Florida right now, because what a scene that must be. Lakeland with a short kick, and Paul Wilson is there to receive it. So look at that. Perfectly designed. Paul Wilson there to jump up and make the play. And REN for Mainland really took a shot. We're hoping he's okay. They're going to get a unsportsmanlike, but they will get the ball. Mainland really didn't move to this ball. Both teams have made strategic kickoffs all night long. This time popped up over the line of scrimmage. Yeah, he really got blasted. My, oh my, and right now there are some words down on the field. They're giving the ball to Mainland, and now this is crazy. Mainland's now kicked out of the game. They've got a player kicked out of the football game, number 10. That is Kendall Butler down there, who they are trying to get under control. As some of the coaches were even jawing down there from both sides as the Mainland coaches came out deep onto the field. Well, I'm not sure how you award an onside kick recovered by Wilson to Mainland. You can't do it because you want to do it. So either I missed something on the block, but you'd have to do the kickover. You couldn't just award the ball to Mainland as the referee pointed first down in Mainland's direction, and then a little bit of mayhem going on with emotions getting the best of them. There is Paul Wilson. A punt return for a touchdown tonight. A bright spot for Wilson, and then recovering that kick, which didn't look like an onside kick, but actually turned out being just that.
activities. Reminder again to stay off the field at the end of the game. Let the players decide it.
I am.
Well, the question is, was REN calling a fair catch? I think that was maybe the discussion, because he does have that right. I did not see his hand go up.
We need to replay that again, because he's so far away from the football. You can't just call a fair catch from anywhere on the field. He's nowhere near the ball. I don't know. When I saw it, I didn't think he was anywhere close to being able to really make that catch. You have to be set up to make a catch. You can't run in from 5 yards away to make a fair catch call. So that's how it came out. You're right on that, Drew, but I'm not sure I agree with the guys in stripes.
So the Bucs will have one more shot. Derek Taylor has battled all night long, still with a chance to put points on the board. A touchdown and an extra point would pull them to within 4.
Let me wait one quick point too. If it's an onside kick where the kicker kicks the ball down into the ground, you can go and hit the other guys. If the guy kicks it up in the air first and it doesn't hit the ground, you can make a fair catch. So that's why he would be allowed to make that fair catch, but I don't think he gave the defender enough time to not block him out of the way. So tough call. They give it over to Mainland as they try to make a last effort.
That pass was intended for Antonio Bell. It goes right off his chest, incomplete. Buccaneers now hoping for a miracle. Most of the Mainland side has filed out of the stadium, but their team still battling here. Pass complete at the 40 and out of bounds. Reception by Ortiz Oreen, the same player who had that fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Well, Derek Taylor's really gutted this game out. He was hurt, late first quarter, maybe early second quarter. And there's Terry Anthony. I mentioned he's the offensive coordinator, former teammate of mine with the Buccaneers. But Derek Taylor's really just gutted out a performance tonight just to stay in there and try to give his team a chance as a senior leadership here as he is portrayed.
Florida State fans remember the name Terry Anthony, one quarter of the Fab Four back in the late 80s and early 90s.
And we had Lawrence Dossie.
That's right.
Another member on that same squad. And another one came down. I'm forgetting a third name that came down and was with us, I think, in the preseason, but didn't end up making the club.
Shannon Baker, perhaps?
No, longer name.
There was one more. Oh boy, 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
Come on, Drew. Come on. You're not a true fan, alumnus, or whatever. You're not true. There was a longer name.
I would need a few minutes to think up that one.
Not Lavernius Coles.
No, absolutely
But he
not.
was tall, very tall guy, 6'4" or so.
Little swing pass out. And a nice move. Nice job of staying on his feet. Andre Williams, someone's got to tackle him. And they finally do at the 40.
That looked just like a Chris Rainey run. The balance on Williams is unbelievable. They're in no huddles. We don't have time to show you the replay yet. But that was just a fantastic run of athleticism.
We have seen so many great plays tonight by both of these teams. Lakeland will rush 3. John Brown up the middle. Oh, lays another huge hit. Taylor got it away, but there is Ahmad Black. And Black will take it out of bounds, and Derek Taylor right now is at midfield, and he is not getting up.
And there's no wonder why. John Brown put his helmet right between the 1 and the 3 and took him down right on top of him. So all the weight of John Brown went right on top of Derek Taylor.
I don't think we have seen a hit on a quarterback that has been as vicious as the one we just saw on Derek Taylor.
And vicious but clean.
Clean,
okay.
Absolutely.
See the move inside? He gets a straight running shot. That is a perfectly clean hit. Just below the numbers there in the middle of the stomach, rib cage. Derek Taylor's going to feel that for a long time. Hopefully he is okay.
John Brown wants to finish this game with an exclamation mark. Well, he just did it. Unfortunately, that guy will be feeling the effects tomorrow morning. What's the toughest spot, Jeff, to get hit as a quarterback when you're throwing the ball and you're not really expecting it? Is it the stomach area right there or the backside?
I say the back because you're not seeing it, and you can put yourself in a very precarious position when you're extended to throw the football, catch yourself on the side of the ribs or the back of the ribs, whereas Derek knew that was coming. It doesn't mean that his power didn't knock the wind out of him or could break his ribs or whatever else, but he saw it coming. And sometimes when you're extended and you get hit in a funny position, quarterbacks can really be laid out in unnatural spots that can hurt you bad.
John Brown is an absolute beast for these Dreadnaughts, and whichever college gets the services of him, that will be a big-time signing on signing day.
Well, Mainland is fortunate that they called this pass interference. They must have interfered with the Mainland's receiver's ability to come back to the football because the ball was underthrown. When Brown...
So my question is, who's got possession?
It's Mainland's ball, pass interference, backed up. They should have gotten basically should have gotten a 15-yard penalty, and then now they just brought it right back because they got a personal foul on themselves. So it's almost tit for tat, but they do keep possession. I'd like to see that because the ball was so underthrown because of the hit that Taylor took by Brown that really you'd have to say was uncatchable short. Let's see how this happens. You see that boom, it takes something off the ball because he's going to get hit. Now, he does get knocked down, but really that was uncatchable for that wide receiver. Black was in position to make that play.
Trying to give the referees the benefit of the doubt, but on that one, I just don't see it.
Couple of critical plays at the end of this game.
Lakeland defense starting to tee off. DeJuan King, we just saw a Manatee final. If we can get a look at that final again, 36-29 is the final score as St. Thomas Aquinas goes on to advance to the state championship game. They top Manatee for the third straight year. St. Thomas will make an appearance down in Miami at Dolphin Stadium. So a great season for Joe Canan's team comes to an end. And you can imagine that one must be a heartbreaker because they did have a 15-0 lead.
And you know, another thing, Drew, we continually talk about all of these standout seniors and all these different teams that are moving on to LSU, Florida, Alabama, you name it. But the majority of seniors, this last loss, and the state champions, the only one that finishes with a win, every team and every senior is playing their last football game in high school.
That's what makes it such an honor to be here and watch the careers of these kids. For Lakeland, very interesting to see what this team's going to look like next year, because although they do reload here in Polk County, they lose so many phenomenal players, and one of them right there just made another big play. Weber Stanis gets a hand on it. He has had a very productive night tonight.
Yeah, John Brown, number 98, gets a lot of talk, but Stanis has really played a big game tonight. He's made a number of plays on the outside here, deflecting the ball. He's had a nice night here in the semifinals.
And here's the reaction as the crowd just kind of sulks. They wanted Manatee in the state championship game, and you heard the sigh.
That was a collective sigh, boy.
From the 5,000 fans here at Bryant Stadium. They wanted the Hurricanes in that game. 4th down and 11. Taylor needs a first. Got a man open, and he's got the catch. They'll move the chains. Antonio Bell has another big catch. And Mainland now with under a minute, trying to get more points on the board, and now the guy's starting to come up gimpy. Bell, this time injured at the 20-yard line.
Good play for the senior quarterback. 4th down and long. Stays on his feet, and he's gimpy. He does a great job avoiding right there, stepping into it, making an accurate throw, and you know, both sides completely exhausted.
So Jeff, we know that Manatee's season is over, and St. Thomas Aquinas now will represent. A lot of thoughts now from a lot of our crew and us, aside from this game, is what's going on in South Tampa. Hopefully we can get a score update before our broadcast is over. We want to remind everyone, every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, join us on Catch 47 for the Bay Area's only high school sports show. The Beef O'Brady's High School Scoreboard, with more interviews, more highlights, more stats, and more action than any other local sports show. The Beef O'Brady's High School Scoreboard only on Catch 47.
Two 13-0 teams here. Mainland's going to go home and finish the season at 13-1. And you just mentioned Plant. We still don't have that update, but they are having their own magical season at 13-0. And the last we heard, they had a 5-point lead, and it had to be near because of this live broadcast. We have a little bit more hesitations throughout the game with the TV timeouts. Those games have been finished, as you see that the Manatee game went into multiple overtimes and finished before we finished a regular game here.
First down, Buccaneers.
So first down for the Buccaneers. And it's Taylor out of the shotgun. Waiting for him at the 20. A nice play for the Dreadnaughts. That is Brian Valdez, who has been tough in that secondary for Lakeland tonight, and it's another timeout for Mainland.
And we are going to take a last break before the end of this football game.
Lakeland leading by 11, 44 seconds to go. Lakeland less than a minute away from continuing their quest to a third straight state championship. And an emotional battle with Mainland tonight. The Dreadnaughts about to close this thing out. Taylor looking for another touchdown, and it is incomplete. The secondary for the Dreadnaughts have been phenomenal tonight. Devon Terry that time on the coverage. The passing game for Mainland not really able to fully get it in gear.
Both teams usually win by big scores for the most part. Mainland's played more tighter games and haven't had to depend on Taylor as often as either, but you're right, just haven't been on track tonight.
This pass is complete, and Wilson is out of bounds. And now it's fourth down, and the clock just keeps on moving. Final chance for Mainland. And it's incomplete. And no flags on the play. Start the celebration at Bryant Stadium. The Lakeland Dreadnaughts, in a year where they were challenged on a trip to Ohio against St. Xavier, they left victorious, also challenged against Osceola Kissimmee, squeaked that one out 7-3. A lot of doubts about where they stood, taken to the limit against Kathleen. And Lakeland has persevered through some tough times, but through the tough times, even for the Dreadnaughts, they continued the winning streak, and now 44 straight games for Lakeland. They'll take a knee, and Blair Castle closes this one out. 35-24 is your final. And Jeff, who do you think the player of the game is?
You know, you say that laughing because it's kind of obvious, but this team has got, as we mentioned at the very start before the game was ever played, so many talented players. It's hard to go, and a lot of guys had good games, but we definitely have two that stood out on both sides of the ball.
That's right. Chris Rainey and Ahmad Black are players of the game. Lakeland going to another state championship game. When we come back, hopefully we can corral these guys and talk to them on the sideline. 35-24, Dreadnaughts going to Miami. A jubilant atmosphere tonight at Bryant Stadium. The Lakeland Dreadnaughts are going to Miami, like Will Smith said in that famous song of his years back. They are going to Miami, to Dolphin Stadium, Friday night, 7:30, under the lights at Dolphin Stadium. The Dreadnaughts will take on St. Thomas Aquinas, and they will play for a state championship. So many thrilling moments tonight for the Dreadnaughts, as Mainland challenged and was knocking on the door several times. That an interception by Ahmad Black turned it over for Plant. They were backed up deep, and this run was maybe the play of the game. Yeah, they took the chance at the second play of the half to throw that deep ball, and then Chris Rainey turns it over. First play goes 93 yards. So just when Mainland had momentum, it was number 3 who came up big. But Mainland's defense, they were stingy, and that play right there kind of turned this game around. Ortiz Oreen takes it back on the fumble return, scores a touchdown, and Mainland had a shot with 5 minutes to go. Trailing by 5, though, this was the icer.
Well, he put the ball on the ground, made it a game again, and then decided, I'm going to put this thing on ice, and takes it to the house.
So Lakeland goes on to win 35-24. Our players of the game, Chris Rainey and Ahmad Black. Now, both of these guys we have watched for their entire Lakeland career, and there are not two guys who we feel we've kind of had a stake in their high school career, because we watched them as freshmen and sophomores, and how they grew up, and these kids have just gotten better and better, and Rainey set a standard of excellence as just a sophomore, and he has maintained that and now bettered that in his senior season. Final stats stack up like this. The score, Lakeland 11 better, rushing 351 yards, most of those coming from number 3, Chris Rainey. Passing, that was key. Lakeland's secondary was tough. Only 81 yards allowed through the air for Mainland.
It's been tough all season long. It's tough to get anything going against Lakeland, so Buccaneers did a good job to put that many rushing yards on the board besides the passing. Over 300 yards on the day is not bad from a total yard standpoint against the Lakeland Dreadnaughts, but you would expect that from a team like Mainland. They have been here before and have got over the hump a couple years back, but they are now going home as Lakeland heads down to Miami for Friday night's game.
Lakeland overcomes those 10 penalties as well. We're joined now down on the field by number 24, Ahmad Black. Ahmad, congratulations on the big win. You've had so many ups and downs this entire year with the teams you have played. The trip to Ohio, the big game against Kathleen. How tough was this one tonight to finish off?
Well, this is a real tough game for us. They scored, real quick on us, and kind of miscues in the defense that, they got 7 early points, but, we fought back hard and won the game.
Ahmad, you seem to be basically all over the field on a number of different positions. Was that by studying what Mainland did, or was that just you guys being ready to play football?
We did a good job of getting ready for the game this week. I looked at a lot of game film and stuff, so, we was ready for them, and it was a team effort.
Ahmad, the guy next to you just continues to make big play after big play. What can you say about Chris Rainey, and how much fun has it been playing with number 3 through your entire high school career and being friends with this guy, the bond that you guys have?
Well, growing up, me and Chris, all into football, and never knew he'd be like he is now. Great running back. I don't think he's replaceable. He had a heck of a game today, and broke the record.
Ahmad, one question, and then we'll let you go. Can you guys do it again next week?
Of course. We're going to bring it back to Polk County, baby.
Ahmad Black, the defensive back for Lakeland. Listen, thanks so much. Good luck next week as you guys take on, again, St. Thomas Aquinas, and hopefully you can bring one home to Polk County. That is Ahmad Black. His father, Bruce Black, also a big fan of the high school scoreboard and everything we do at Catch 47. Proud to see his son shining on the game of the week. Now it's time for number 3 to step into the batter's box. Chris Rainey, another amazing performance. We have watched you throughout since you were a sophomore, Chris, break off big runs, whether it was against Hillsborough or Lake Gibson. Tonight, maybe your performance that was better than all of those. What were you thinking out there tonight? Did you know you had to have this type of game for your team to advance?
Yes, sir, because I don't want to lose. This is my last time in the Brown State, and I want to go back to state. And I guess we got to play St. Thomas again, and St. Thomas, here we come again.
So you've had so many great things happen to you through your career, going over 2,000 yards tonight. Tell me about that last ball you put on the ground and then what you were thinking after that when you came back with the long touchdown run.
I was just fighting for yards, and then somebody came behind me and punched it out, and all I seen was that they were going the other way and they scored, and I had to step it up and came back and scored, and I guess we came with a big win.
Chris, it looks like once you get the ball, you're kind of waiting for that big block from the Pouncey twins. Is that what you look for as soon as you get the ball?
Yes, sir. They always tell me to follow them and the only people to follow, so I do.
Chris, last question for you. Can you guys do this again, and what are you going to have to do next week to beat St. Thomas Aquinas? You beat these guys last year. They're going to be hungry for revenge.
I know. We just got to stay focused and do what we've been doing, and we'll go out there and get a big win again and get another ring.
Well, Chris, you're always smiling, so we expect you to be smiling tonight as you head home. Listen, man, congratulations. Good luck from all of us at Catch 47.
All right, yeah.
All right, Chris Rainey, the running back for the Lakeland Dreadnaughts, sets a record tonight for the best performance in a single season for any Lakeland running back. And aside from these kids and what they've done, a phenomenal job all season long again by Coach Bill Castle for keeping everybody level-headed. How you do it, Coach, year in and year out. It's one of the great coaching jobs in high school football. But, Coach, tonight, this was a completely different challenge with the defense that was better probably than any other you've seen this year.
Oh, without a doubt. Hey, Daytona Mainland's, their defense is incredible, and so it even speaks more highly of our offensive line, the job that they did in controlling the line of scrimmage. We didn't get them every time, but we got them enough time to get Rainey some daylight out there and get him a little bit of grass to run in. You know what an incredible performance he had. Our defense played great. Ahmad Black, he came up with some turnovers, and you know, I think it's just a tribute to this football team, the way they've been able to stay focused and to have a target on their back and the expectations be so high and just to keep rolling on. You know, I'm really proud of them.
Coach, when you do have expectations like Lakeland has now because you guys have been so successful, how do you keep them focused? Because that is your job to do. So how do you do that at, you know, pregame, halftime type talks? What do you do to keep the team focused?
Nah, I don't really get into all that. You got to do it through the week, and that's a tribute to our football players, this senior class, for their ability to prep during the week and get themselves mentally ready. If you got to rely on a pep talk, hey, that's going to last you 5 minutes. You got to get ready during the week, and these senior class definitely know how to do that.
Coach, final question: coaching your son at quarterback, does that make this year any more special?
It's certainly it does. Yeah, it's a very, very special year. But you know, this, like I said, we've got 34 seniors on here. A lot of these guys have been on our varsity for you know, a lot of them for 4 years. We had a lot of these guys as ninth graders on this team. So it's just a special class, and you know, they've certainly made a great run to keep it going like they've been able to do without having a bad night.
Well, Coach, listen, thank you for putting on another show on the Game of the Week, and we wish you the best of luck next week down in Miami.
Thank you very much.
Coach Bill Castle from the Lakeland Dreadnaughts leading his team to another state championship game. And it's been another great game on the Game of the Week, another great playoff performance. And Jeff, next week we're doing the All-Star game. We'll also have full coverage on the Beef O'Brady's High School Scoreboard from the Plant Panthers and Lakeland Dreadnaughts as they head down to Miami. For all of our entire Game of the Week crew, I'm Drew Felios along with Jeff Carlson. Tonight, the Lakeland Dreadnaughts winners, 35-24. We'll see you next week from Pinellas County on the Game of the Week. And on the blitz, it was the big guy. So Lakeland goes on to win 35-24. And the next week, they would head down to Miami and win their third straight state championship over St. Thomas Aquinas in what many people say is the best high school game ever in the state of Florida. Lakeland's overall win streak would continue until that next year. It would end at 53 games that up until now is still a state record. That's going to do it for the Bright House Sports Network Game of the Week. I'm Drew Felios. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great day.
You're watching Bright House Sports Network, your home for high school.